2024, and the Padres lead the Dodgers 1-0.
But alas, there will be no undefeated season for the Friars. Welcome into Gwynn and Chris, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. 2:01 is the time. Chris and Matt Skraby together in our Odyssey Palace studios. Tony Gwynn Jr., of course, sleeping off the Padres 5-2 loss to the Los Angeles Dodgers in Seoul, South Korea earlier this morning. Goes without saying, Skraby, unbelievable turnout this morning at 7 Mile Casino, an event sponsored by our friends at Soapy Joe's, I might add.
Yes.
I mean, I couldn't find a place to park. I was there 15 minutes before the game. I thought I'd just, pull up to the front door and walk in and find a place to sit.
Not true.
I had to park down the street. I had to walk. I actually parked at the 12 Mile Casino and walked into the 7 Mile Casino. I mean, that's how far away my car was. And then I got inside, and a nice lady named Karen said she was saving a seat for her friend.
Oh.
That's the only way I got a seat. She let me sit there until
you took someone's seat?
Well, she said I could, I could sit there until her friend arrived. Her friend never arrived, or at least as far as I know. Oh. So I was able to sit down and watch some of the game, at least the first few innings. And I started mingling around. And I tell you, it was, just a tribute to San Diego sports fans, Padre fans. I mean, we get the bad rap here that we don't have good sports fans. We have great sports fans in San Diego. We just don't have enough teams to root for at the major league level.
Yeah.
We didn't lose the Chargers. Don't blame any of us fans for the Chargers exiting.
I'm not.
Don't blame us fans for the fact that the Clippers were at the time, and might even still be a little bit, one of the worst organizations in sports history.
That was Donald Sterling's
run
fault.
by Donald Sterling and run out of town by Donald Sterling, not because the fans were no good, because Donald Sterling lived in Beverly Hills and he wanted his team to be closer to him. He wasn't concerned with anything else. He wanted the Hollywood life. That had nothing to do with the fans losing the Clippers. And you can even go back to the San Diego Rockets, the first NBA franchise here.
Yeah, what happened with them?
They did well. They did really well. The owner of the team was a guy by the name of Bob Breitbart, who I got to know much later on.
I know that last name.
He was, he's the guy that built the sports arena, basically in 1965, 66, whenever it was built. Brought the Gulls in originally. That was the first tenant in the sports arena in the old Western Hockey League. And then got the Rockets as a expansion exhibition, as an expansion franchise. And what happened with the Rockets, they were well supported. I think they got into a playoff one year. They had the Big E, Elvin Hayes, was one of the great stars in the NBA back then. Bob Breitbart owned the team. And he got an offer. He told me this story many years later. He got an offer from the city of Houston. You notice how I have to pause before I say that every time now?
I'm not going to call you out.
So that you won't say, oh, you always say Houston.
Houston.
I don't. I say Houston.
Okay.
But he got an offer from the city of Houston, and I'm just using examples here. Let's say the Rockets were worth $5 million back in 1971 or whatever.
Yeah.
They were, the book value was, let's say, $5 million. I don't know what it was. Let's say it was $5 million. The city of Houston, the owners there, the Rockets, people who wanted the franchise to move, offered him like $25 million. It was just, he couldn't pass it up. And he told me till the day he died that he felt like that was one of the biggest regrets he ever had. But at the time, it was too absurd of an offer.
It's a tough place to be in because it sounds like you wanted to keep him there, but how do you say no?
He had no real desire to move them. He just got offered so much money, whatever it was at the time, that, he made the decision to sell, and the Rockets moved. And then the Clippers came in soon thereafter, and it was, anyway, you get my point here. We've got great fans in San Diego, and you guys showed up big time this morning. Talking to Brad Samuel down there, who works at 7 Mile Casino, and he said his estimate, it wasn't even an estimate. He said they can tell. They keep track. There was over 350 people there for this game.
I didn't think it was
I expected there'd be 75. maybe 100.
I thought, I really didn't know what to expect, but all of you just exceeded expectations to the point where I literally felt bad and was apologizing to people walking out because I'm like, I'm sorry, everybody.
That was the example of how many people were there, that a lot of people got there, couldn't find a place to settle in, and turned around and went home. We had it was so jam-packed. It was such a wonderful event. You guys made it that way.
Yeah.
That we just couldn't fit everybody in who wanted to be there.
I thought I was like,
so great on all of you, man. It was a lot of fun. I met a lot of people today, and you and I were kidding around about this in the back before the show started. 90% of the people who came over and said hello to me today shared a story with me about their appearance on Chris versus the Fans.
Yes.
Do you remember the time the question was?
Or it's like,
and then they would give me the question and I go, oh, sure. I remember that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, or they would give me their record. They go, I've been on Chris versus the Fans 4 times. I've lost 2.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to share a Chris versus the Fans story.
It's true.
So it was a lot of fun getting to talk to everybody out there, and just thank all of you folks for coming out. Thanks to 7 Mile Casino for hosting us. And, everything was perfect about 3 o'clock this morning, except, of course, the result, which was 5-2 Dodgers. Skraby, here's the thing. When I think of the phrase foul play, I think of a few things. I think of there was a movie named Foul Play with Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn.
Okay, never
Quite
seen
a good movie.
Oh, okay.
I highly recommend it. You'd like it. It was good. It was set in San Francisco. It's kind of a murder mystery adventure type thing. It was really good.
Now you've got me.
And it was funny. It was a hilarious movie as well. It was funny, and it was anyway. Chevy Chase Foul Play. Look it up.
Okay.
The other thing I think of is a ball that's hit into foul territory.
Yes.
Otherwise known as a foul play.
Yes.
Or I think of what in the world happened to Jake Cronenworth's glove.
Right?
Was it foul play?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah,
you think
Chris.
so?
I absolutely
think there was
so.
Foul play. Why? You know what? You are the number one conspiracy theory guy that I've ever met. So why don't you tell me your theory on how...
Got this ready to go every time.
Tell me your theory on what in the world happened on Gavin Lux's ground ball that mysteriously went right through the glove of Jake Cronenworth and basically decided the game today.
It did.
You can look at all of the other things you want to. The Padres pitchers walked 9 batters. They hit 1. They put too many guys on. Padres didn't hit a whole lot. But they were 2 for 5, by the way, with runners in scoring position. I want to point that out.
That's brilliant.
Which is good. That's a 400 average. I hope that holds up. But, Campusano had the big chance, really, in the 4th inning. Bases loaded, nobody out.
Oh.
You got to hit one into the gap there. You got to break it open.
Gave me flashbacks.
Yeah, double play, 1 run scored, but missed a chance to score more. Wade made a throwing error, which led to an unearned run. You can put all that stuff in there. All of that to me is baseball. That was all part of baseball.
Okay.
But the one thing that happened that decided the game was not baseball. A ground ball went through the guy's glove.
It did.
And they showed it from multiple different angles. That's exactly what happened. So under the category of foul play, what do you say happened, Mr. Skraby?
Here's what I think happened, Chris.
You think?
Yes.
I want you to know.
I am proposing.
You're proposing.
This theory.
Turn the music up a little bit. Make it as eerie as possible.
So Jake Cronenworth goes back into the dugout.
After the 7th inning.
After the 7th inning.
Now, understand that when he went back into the dugout in the 7th inning, after the 7th inning, probably put his glove somewhere, right, to go retrieve it.
Mm-hmm.
Up until that point, he had caught the ball. He had thrown infield every inning.
Yep.
He had caught a lot of throws from Wade and from Kim and from Bogarts.
All game long.
All game long. His glove was working perfectly well.
It was.
There was no sign, obviously, that there had been anything wrong with that glove or Jake would have changed it. But obviously when he put his glove down at the end of the 7th inning, the glove was in perfect condition.
So
what could have happened between then and that ground ball by Gavin Lux in the 8th inning.
Now, I don't have any names because I'm not willing to go that far yet.
Okay.
But what I think happened...
Because the Dodgers don't have Jose Altuve or Carlos Correa on their roster.
Correct. That is
so
true.
we can't blame those guys.
Don't take my shirt off.
We can't blame those guys.
They
But
can't.
But
We
somehow,
can't.
some way, you feel like there might have been some foul play involved.
The only thing, and Annie Halpern brought this up on Andy and Elston earlier. She's calling it Glovegate, and I know that Andy
Glovegate.
I know that Annie might be joking a little bit. I am not joking.
I don't think you need to joke about it.
Because
Glovegate
this
is a real thing.
It's ridiculous. So this is what I think happened, Chris. Somehow, someone got a hold of that glove in between innings and loosened the webbing. How does this happen? What was this, the 8th inning? How does this happen in the 8th inning?
After 7 innings of perfectly good glove work by Jay Cronenworth, and even if he didn't have a lot of plays in the field in the first 7 innings, and I don't have that in front of me, how many, ground, but I know he picked up a couple of ground balls. I'm sure he caught some throws at first base.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, they throw infield grounders,
Every
the
inning.
first baseman every inning.
Yeah.
So he's
Catching,
he's catching
fielding,
throws at the
he's
beginning of
doing
every inning.
everything. He always looks at his glove, too. He's always tightening his glove.
I'm always assuming I'm assuming before the 8th inning, he threw ground balls to the infield and made catches on throws then.
Yeah.
So how did this happen?
Gavin Lux is that strong?
No, he's not. Gavin Lux did not hit a ground ball that ripped through the webbing of his glove because it was struck so hard. Something somehow,
is amiss.
somebody tampered with that glove.
Now, I have
It's
seen
the only explanation.
I have seen on the chat that some people think this is the glove that's been passed around for generations in that dugout. So but that doesn't make sense because Jake Cronenworth's a lefty. Does he catch right?
No, he's right-handed.
He's right-handed.
He throws right.
Okay.
He catches
so that
with his
makes
left
sense
hand.
then because I think some people were thinking it was
No.
Basically, what it comes
No,
down
I
to,
believe
he needs
somebody-
to buy a new glove.
Well, they gave him a new glove after the play, but it was a little late.
Chances
It was a
it was
little
an
late.
87-mile-an-hour hit. That's not nearly hard enough to go
not
through a glove.
even remotely hard enough to go through a glove. It had to be tampered with. Somebody somewhere, either maybe one of the Dodger players, and I don't see how one of the Dodgers could get into the dugout.
No, it's not the Dodger player.
But I could see how one of those Korean cheerleaders might have dropped in for a moment.
Oh, you're saying
Did you see
it's
them
an
all over the
inside
dugout
job.
during the game?
I
don't know
didn't
what
actually.
happened. I really don't know what happened. It's a trick of the gods, is what it is. It is absolutely something that I have never seen happen before. I've been watching baseball for years. You know how old I am, Skrabe.
Yeah, you're 102.
102. I've never seen a ball. I've seen it go off the webbing. I've seen it bounce, I've never seen it actually go through a hole in somebody's glove like
and
that.
then him just look what?
I've seen balls get stuck in the webbing before.
Yeah.
Like
which
a hard
still
ground
counts as an
ball,
out.
a hard ball to the pitcher, and they'll throw the whole glove to the first baseman because the ball will be stuck in the glove.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never seen a ball go through a glove. And this is, what cost the Padres the game. That was the game. He turns a double play. It stays 2-2. Going to the bottom of the 8th, and who knows what happens. But, right after that, Betts got the hit. Ohtani got the hit. 5-2, game over. But that should have never happened.
I actually think I know what happened, Chris. It was a drunk Rob Manfred in the dugout.
Stumbling
around.
Jake, is this your glove?
Yeah, he's like hitting it like he's going in. And
is
then
this
he
your
somehow
glove? He untied
loosened the
webbing.
web. Yes.
You're
that's
blaming
how
it on
happened.
Rob Manfred.
Yes.
You know what? I'm not. Hey, look, everybody's upset that we lost.
Jokesters.
Everybody's upset that they lost this game. We lost this game, but this was a trick of the gods. That's all I can say. Maybe it's something that can only happen to a San Diego-based team. I don't know, but the Dodgers lucked out, and the ball got through the glove, and the game is belonged to LA. 5-2 the final. One more thing on Glovegate.
Mm-hmm.
Or not one more. I'm sure we'll talk more about it. But one last thing for this segment on Glovegate. Hello, Major League Baseball. That is not an error on Jay Cronenworth.
Oh, you don't think so?
No.
Well, isn't
How
an
can you give him
equipment
an error when he...
Isn't the equipment an extension of him?
How can you give the guy an error on a ball that he gloved perfectly well? And it went through. Now, had it hit a rock and bounced over his head, you wouldn't give him an error.
No.
That'd be a hit.
But
I don't think that's an error.
I think the equipment is an extension of you.
That's a trick of the gods. There should be a separate category. The Dodgers,
the air category and the trick of the gods
the
category.
Dodgers line score should read 5 runs, 6 hits, no errors, and 1 trick of the gods. Yes.
Trick T-O
the gods.
T-G.
T-O-T-G.
T-O-T-G.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Trick of the gods.
Absolutely crazy. All right, so the
By
Padres.
the way, everybody, we're going to be a little punchy today. So.
Yes, well, hey, we were there at 3 in the morning with everybody else,
Yes.
but I assume most of you listening are a little punchy as well. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you so much for being here. We are underway. The Padres will not go undefeated this season.
Oh, but the Dodgers will, according to Major League Baseball social media accounts.
Well, they still have a chance to. So until further notice, I guess that's still on the.
Did Major League Baseball really post that, saying that they still have a chance to go 162-0? I don't care if it's a joke. I don't care if it was for the Tigers. That is a dumb post.
It's pretty dumb. But as of
no one goes 162-0.
But as of this moment, the Rockies still have a chance to go 162-0. So, although I doubt anybody's going to post that.
No.
On the show today, we got a sports court a little bit later on. But before we get to that, we'll have you get your NCAA brackets out. Sean Paul, Field of 68 website. He is so knowledgeable about college basketball. He'll help us preview the Aztecs game against UAB. He'll help you with your brackets. That's coming up in about 25 minutes. All the rest of the good stuff here on Gwynn and Chris, Daily Gambit, Chris for the Fans, the Big Five. A full 4 hours together today here on Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Welcome to it.
Never miss a We pitched our tail off to get to that point. Threw together a lot of at-bats, a lot of deep counts, ran through some guys. And, it's a 2-2 game. It's a double play ball. Goes through his web. We're still tied, maybe still playing. So, didn't go our way.
That's an understatement, Mike Schilt. Did not go the Padres' way in an almost unbelievable circumstance. They lost 5-2 to the Dodgers to kick off the 2024 baseball season. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello, Matt Skraby together today in our Odyssey Palace studios. Tony Gwynn Jr., of course, is halfway around the world. In Korea, he had the call of the game this morning with Jesse Agler, and they will have the call of the game tomorrow morning. Again, how is Sammy Levitt, huh?
Oh, I listened on the way down.
2 a.m. Padre pregame show. Sammy had all the facts and figures.
Oh, he was ready to go.
Oh, he's in midseason form.
He is, and it was 2 a.m.
Sammy Levitt will have the pregame show at 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. So if you are one of those people, like I used to be, who stayed out till 2 in the morning, I mean, that's a few years ago, Scrabe.
You're telling me.
Yeah, I know. But I used to stay out till 2 in the morning, then head on home, watch Sports Center till 3 a.m. in the morning.
Oh.
And then go to bed.
Party animal.
Yeah.
I used to.
I would have just stayed up and watched the game back in the day. Now I do it the opposite way. I go to bed
sleep,
early
and then you
wake up and watch the game. Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the day, I used to, go out with my friends until 2 a.m. and then show back up to work at 9 a.m. the next day.
And you could pull it off. And you could pull it off.
I don't drink anymore, but I know that me waking up this morning is going to affect me at some point today.
Yeah, probably. It probably already has started affecting you, being as you believe that Kike Hernandez
I don't believe this. This is from the chat.
Used the bomb diversion earlier before the game. There was a bomb threat,
which
apparently.
Is scary.
It is scary. It turned out to be a hoax.
Yeah.
But Skraby now telling me off the air there that he believes
I was just
after reading the chat. After reading the chat, he believes that the bomb hoax was used as a diversion. And before the game, Kike Hernandez snuck into the Padre clubhouse. I don't know why you're blaming Kike Hernandez, but he's as good as anybody. He's as good as anybody. And he went in there and loosened the strings on Jay Cronenworth's glove. Now, if that's true, I can imagine Kike Hernandez sitting in the Dodger dugout for 8 innings, wondering why isn't this working?
I sent that email and everything.
Yeah. I mean, I messed with the strings of the guy's glove. It should give way at any moment.
And then it did.
Bam. It gave way at the worst possible moment for the Padres.
One thing about Sammy Lev before we move on. I met Brandon, our guy from El Cajon, who's also active on the chat. He said that Sammy Lev showed up during the morning show after his post game as well.
Yes,
that dude
that's
is
dedication.
Incredible.
That's dedication. Also got to thank Presley from our promotions department.
Yeah.
She was down there like 1 in the morning getting everything set up. Got to thank Adam Klug, our boss. I'm not bucking for a promotion here, but he was down there.
Sorry, what did you just say?
I said I'm not bucking for a promotion.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Adam Klug was down there not only setting up, but then he was there through the entire event. Then he came back and ran the board for the morning show.
Tell everybody where you met Adam this morning.
Well, when I got back from the game, my wife and I went on our morning walk.
It's interesting.
When I live close by, as you know, so we walked past the station in our morning walk, and we ran into Adam Klug, returning from the promotion and getting ready to run the board for Ben and Wood show. That's the kind of teamwork that, I'm going to say it. I'm proud to be a part of that kind of teamwork.
Me too.
That's really good. I mean, Adam Klug is our boss. A lot of bosses don't get involved in the day-to-day goings-on of the station like that.
They usually are at home sleeping.
Get their hands dirty, as you might say.
Oh, Adam doesn't just get his hands dirty. He
gets them filthy.
On the front lines with all of us.
He not only gets them filthy, but then he wipes it off on our shirts.
Your shirt.
Yeah, on my shirt. But,
If you ever need to see Adam, just look for the guy wearing a polo and jeans with the polo tucked in.
Adam Klug, great job. Ben and Woods, everybody, like I said, terrific promotion this morning. And, unfortunately, the game did not go the Padres' way. It's all about the glove gate. I mean, I think glove gate is a perfect term for it. So I'll give Annie Heilbrunn credit for that.
Should.
But, it's about that, and you can't walk 9 guys.
No.
You just can't walk 9 guys.
Oh, yeah, there's that too, Chris.
That's part of it. That's part of it.
It's not because of the 8th inning. It's because of the 9 walks, most likely.
Well, that's a big part of it. I mean, you walk 2 in the 8th inning to set up the bases loaded, right? And then Brito came in, got Kike on that line drive to left field for a sac fly, tied it at 2, and then you bring Morejon in and glove gate happens. But, everybody who pitched today walked somebody practically. The Padres used 8 pitchers, and Mike Schultz said he was going to play this like a playoff game. Why? Not because it's the first game of the season, but because there's only 2 games this week. After tomorrow, everybody gets to reset. So he played it, and I thought he played it right. I thought he managed his bullpen perfectly. I think he had the right guys in there at the right moment. But you can't walk 9, and you can't hit a batter. That's giving the Dodgers 10 free base runners. And the Dodgers are good enough to beat you even with no free base runners, let alone 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Matsui
I think
was
that was
really
a big
good
deal.
Too.
Matsui pitched well.
I
he walked the guy.
Gotten a chance to see a lot of him.
Peralta walked. Now, 2 of the Padres' 9 walks were pitch clock violations.
Yeah, what in the world?
Including the first batter of the year.
What in the world?
It was like Darvish forgot that the pitch clock existed. The home plate umpire, Lance Barksdale, actually gave him an extra 2 or 3 seconds on top of the clock.
Yeah. And
finally came out from behind home plate and said, sorry, I got to call this.
Yeah.
That's ball 4.
You're way over limit.
You're so far over the limit, I have to call this. But, yeah, 2 of the walks were pitch count violations. I thought the other thing that stuck out about the game, after 1 game this season in Major League Baseball, do you know who leads MLB in extra base hits?
The Padres?
How about nobody?
Oh, no.
There wasn't a single extra base hit in this game.
I didn't realize that.
Neither team had an extra base hit. The Dodgers had 7 singles. The Padres had 4. 2 of them by Xander Bogaerts. 1 of those with a runner in scoring position. I thought that maybe that was a signal that things are going to change a little this year. But lo and behold, the 8th inning tripped us up. So
we're stuck in this. We have 1 game to react to type thing.
Yeah.
So.
What else do you want me to say? I mean,
nothing.
A lot of people are overreacting, which I expect.
More people on the chat are okay.
They're doing all right. Yeah. But I know I read my Twitter stuff this morning, and a lot of people are like, we absolutely positively have to get Brandon Belt. We got to get Tommy Pham signed. We need another bat. First of all, I don't disagree with that notion. But it's not because of this game that I think that.
Yeah, of course.
I think that just in general.
Yeah.
I mean, Fernando, Cronenworth, Machado, and Kim, that's 2 through 5 in your order. They went 0 for 14.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys got to do something.
There's too many shades of last year.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit there and wait for Graham Pauley and even Jackson Merrill to save us. The 4 guys in the middle have got to do something. They did not do anything today. So, all right, 5-2 Dodgers. When we come back, get your brackets out. Colorado State started it off nicely for the Mountain West Conference last night as they beat Virginia. What is likely to happen as the tournament moves forward from here? Sean Paul, Field of 68, college basketball analyst, and we've had him on before. He's really good, really knowledgeable. So, like I said, stick around. That's coming up next. I want to congratulate Skraby's alma mater, one of your many alma maters.
Oh, I was like, which one?
Colorado State Rams, my wife's alma mater. They win the first game of the tournament for the Mountain West Conference last night, as we talked about yesterday. Any win that the Mountain West gets is good for the Aztecs. Even though we're used to rooting against those teams during the season, we need to root for them now. It will help down the road.
It will.
And it also helps in the pocketbook. That's $2 million more to the teams in the Mountain West Conference. Every time a team wins a game, ching ching, a couple more million.
Cha-ching, I think is what you're looking
cha-ching. What'd I say? Ching ching?
Ching ching.
Yeah, well, you know. But no, I want to also congratulate both Colorado State and Virginia. They set the game back by about 30 years. If you watch the first half of that game last night, it was a struggle.
I did.
It was an absolute struggle. The shooting for both teams was abysmal. Virginia at one point missed 19 shots in a row. They went over 11 minutes without a basket. And
it's pretty bad.
I would think Colorado State would win that game. Now, of course, all the pundits after the game are like, we told you Virginia shouldn't have been in the tournament. All right, fine.
Easy to say now.
Easy to say now. But how about a little credit to Colorado State? They played a terrific game. They didn't give a whole lot to Virginia. They didn't give them anything on the offensive glass. And, you know, they forced them into difficult shots. And Colorado State, I mean, having watched this team as much as we have, Isaiah Stevens is like one of the best players out there. This guy scored 5 points last night.
And they still
won by 25.
That's impressive.
Pretty impressive. So with that, we bring in our NCAA basketball guru from the field of 68. Joining us on Gwynn and Chris is our friend Sean Paul. Sean, how are you today?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me. And, yeah, that game last night was not a sight to behold. I'll tell you that much.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But it was, you know, to me it was a little bit for Mountain West Conference fans. I mean, after all,
sure.
Other than the Aztecs, the Mountain West had been 0-11 in the previous, 4 or 5 years. So for the Mountain West to get a nice win over that's a third place team from the ACC. I don't know what that says about the rest of the ACC, but I guess we'll find out going forward. All right, let's start, Sean. I asked you about, Boise State and Colorado tonight and take a little look at some of the other matchups, but let's start with the Aztecs and their draw, UAB in the first round. This is not metrically one of the best teams in the tournament. As a matter of fact, I think their net is actually lower than all of the 13 seeds, let alone being the lowest among the 12 seeds. So did the Aztecs truly get a beneficial draw here, or is that window dressing?
Honestly, for the way that San Diego State plays, I think this matchup was one of the worst 12 seeds they could have gotten.
Really?
Because
okay.
San Diego State or UAB has a ton of size. They play, honestly, more of an old school style. With the way this year's roster is built, they have Yaxel Lendenborg, who is a big man, double-double machine. He's been one of the better bigs in the country over the last couple months. And you have Javian Davis, who used to play at the high major level at Mississippi State and Alabama. Those two play together a lot. 6'9", 265 for Davis, 6'9", 230 for Lendenborg. They just have so much size up front. And if you're trying to stop Jaden Ledee, you have to have some size up front to stop that man. He was an All-American for a reason. But what it comes down to for UAB is they're going to have to be able to hit a couple perimeter shots. They're a really bad shooting team, 33% from deep. Eric Gaines, Alejandro Vasquez, Butta Johnson, all three of those guys are – Butta Johnson's a shooter of the bunch, but Eric Gaines and Vasquez are more defenders and more on-ball defenders that can cause havoc. And they're both athletic. They're both strong. They can be really good for this team, but they're just not shooters. So it's going to be a pretty low-scoring game in my mind. UAB's defense is pretty poor, but they will be able to flash a lot of different looks at you. And I think their defense is a little bit better than the numbers would indicate just based on the raw talent they have. But San Diego State, I mean, I talked about it last time. Those guards have to score because if you're putting everything on Jaden Ledee's plate, at some point he's not going to have a good game. You're going to need Lamont Butler to score. You're going to need Darion Trammell to score. You're going to need Micah Parrish to score. You need somebody to score the basketball outside of Jaden Ledee, and we'll see who that is, but they need somebody to do it.
Talking to Sean Paul of the field of 68 here on 97.3 The Fan. And real quick, did you say his name was Butta Johnson?
Yeah, Butta. His real name is Ephraim, but he goes by Butta.
Okay, that's a pretty cool nickname, I gotta say. If you're named Butta as a basketball player,
I bet he's smooth.
I bet he is. But we had a writer on yesterday, and he was talking about the team and how, they, as you said, might not be the best team in the tournament, but they could still do some damage. Do the Aztecs have the upper hand in regards to the bench? Because throughout the year, the bench has been a big thing for the team, and I feel like the bench could be the aspect that helps them win the game.
I mean, definitely. When you look at UAB, they want to play a lot of size. They really only go about 8 or 9 guys deep at most. Christian Coleman and Javian Davis kind of swap around at that 4 spot a little bit. You get some more athleticism and versatility with Coleman. I think that could actually work decently well in this game, depending on how the foul situation sets up, because Jaden Ledee draws fouls better than anybody not named Zach Edey in the country. So I think Coleman could see a steady diet in this game, especially with Jay Powell. They're very similar in the way they're built. But they bring Daniel Ortiz and Tony. Another great name with Tony coming off the bench.
Tony.
Yeah.
Like
some great names here.
Over here.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's funny.
Those are 2 guys that can shoot it. So I'd like to see a little bit more of them than we typically do, to be honest with you. But yeah, this isn't the most talented team in the field. They're probably one of the least talented 12 seeds in the field. But just the way this team is built, it scares me a little bit for the way San Diego State plays, because you want to face a team that doesn't have a litany of big men, and they have just that.
Yeah. Well, almost anything scares me if I'm San Diego State right now, because the Aztecs don't shoot the ball well, and they don't rebound great on the defensive glass, and that is where UAB makes its hay. So I definitely
one of the best in the country.
Yeah, no question. The Aztecs are going to have their work cut out for them, but just for fun, let's look ahead at their draw. I mean, they made an amazing, run last year. Nobody saw that coming. We can dream a little, can't we? Let's say they beat UAB. Is Auburn too good in the second round? I've seen that. Now, their metrics are off the charts. They are way up there in defensive efficiency, offensive efficiency. I've seen nothing but, great reviews on Auburn. And then if they are able to get past that, they're going to have UConn. I know the Aztecs beat the number 1 seed last year, Alabama, but UConn seems like a whole nother animal.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. UConn is the best team in the country by a lot, in my opinion. They just have so many different options on the offensive end. All 5 starters average double digits. They can defend. They can just go on a 10-0 run faster than anybody in the country, and in a blink of an eye just change the entire game. They did it twice during the Big East tournament. This is the best team in the country. They've only lost a couple times all year, and they've just looked impressive all year long. But Auburn, you mentioned as well, in the potential second-round matchup. Again, they have a big-time stud big in Janai Broome. They have Jalen Williams, who's another awesome piece. So San Diego State's interior is really good, but that's going to be tested in the potential first 2-round matchups. But I wouldn't sleep on Yale in that first-round matchup against Auburn either. Yale is a pretty good team. They have a lot of size for an Ivy League team with 7-footer Danny Wolf and Matt Noling, who made the game winner against Brown in the Ivy League title game. They have a really good point guard in Bez Mbang, who I think is better than any point guard Auburn has on their roster, which is my big concern about them. They're very similar to San Diego State in the fact that they have a really good front court, but the guard play is really shaky, and that's why I don't think either team will make a super deep run in the tournament, although the metrics absolutely love Auburn. So you can draw some parallels to UConn being super beloved by the metrics last year and being a 4 seed. Same deal for Auburn. I just don't think Auburn is nearly as good as that UConn team last year. But I could see San Diego State getting past Auburn if they beat UAB. I could see it. I don't know if I would predict it, but I could see it. There's a world where that could happen. I don't think San Diego State's going to make the Sweet 16 this year, though.
That's fair. That is fair, Sean.
I think it's fair. Just, if you don't mind being wrong, it's fair.
Hey, I'd love to be wrong. I love this program and what Dutcher has. Just the guards, they just don't do it enough. It's tough because last year you had Bradley at least to set the tone, and I know he didn't have a huge season last year compared to the previous year, but against Charleston and FAU, their 2 closest games of the tournament before the title game, who was there saving the day for San Diego State? Matt Bradley.
Yep, that's true. We're talking to Sean Paul, Field of 68 here, and I got a side question before my actual question. Do you just memorize everything about basketball?
It's pretty unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
He's ripping off these names. It's left and right.
Like, there's no way you're sitting in front of your computer doing this. This is coming off the top of your head.
I'm not in front of my computer now.
I know. How do you do this?
I love this. I love this
I
stuff.
watch a lot of basketball. I study a lot of basketball. I don't know. See, if I was as good at memorizing math equations as I am at memorizing college basketball players, I would have been a lot better in school. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
You and me both,
But
Sean.
I'm great at memorizing basketball.
You and me both.
So we were just talking about upsets and different teams that could do some things in the tournament. And here's the $1 million question that everybody wants to know. Who's the upset that they should be picking in their bracket?
It's a great question. I think right now Samford is a trendy one over Kansas with Kevin McCullough being out, but I don't love the way that Samford's built against high major teams. They don't have a ton of size to really battle against Hunter Dickinson. They have two good big men, the Chora and Jermaine Marshall. Those are two really good Southern Conference big men, but both are really wings playing the 4 and 5. I don't think they'll fare very well against Kansas because the way Kansas doesn't turn the ball over, Samford pressures a ton. They have a small backcourt and they shoot a ton of threes. I just don't think that's going to work against Kansas. But Grand Canyon over St. Mary is the one I really dug my heels into at this point. I think they're a really good team. They're more athletic than St. Mary's, and obviously St. Mary's is really good. They have two great guards with Augustus Marshallonis, Aiden Mahaney. They're a great defensive team, but their offense can leave a little bit to be desired at times. They ran through the WCC this season. But when you look at Grand Canyon, I mean, they have a really, really good team. Did they beat San Diego State this year? Or they played, right?
Yeah, they beat the Aztecs rather handily down there. Yeah, they were good.
Yeah, I thought that was coming to my mind correctly. Ty and Grant Foster, one of the best players in this tournament. He's just an absolute stud. He's an NBA player. Grand Canyon's a really good offensive rebounding team. They have a lot of offensive weapons like Ray Harrison, Javon Blackshear. They just have so many dudes that can beat you. They're more athletic than St. Mary's. I think it'll be a Grand Canyon victory.
Well, there's something to go along with that pick of Grand Canyon is that on my bracket, I have St. Mary's going quite a ways, and I'm not very good in brackets. So
nor am I.
So, well, that's just something for you people out there to keep in mind. Maybe Grand Canyon is one of those really good choices. Couple things. We had the 15s beat the 2s last year. We've got Purdue in this tournament. They've lost to double-digit seeds, it seems like every year. Are we going to get one of those crazy tournaments again this year, Sean, or is it going to at least get a little bit back to semi-normal?
I mean, I don't think so, but at the same time, like, if I could just be like, hey, St. Peter's is going to win it again, guys, but I'd just be lying to you because I don't think it's going to happen. I didn't think Princeton was going to win a game last year either. I didn't think St. Peter's was going to beat Kentucky. I thought St. Peter's would cover the 21.5-point spread or whatever it was against Kentucky. I didn't think they'd win. But Oral Roberts over Ohio State, I did actually predict that one, and that got me a lot of Twitter followers a good 3 years ago. But it's just, you're really just guessing if you have a 15 or a 16 seed over a 1 or a 2 seed because the odds of it happening are just so slim. Obviously, it can happen, and you look at some of these 16 seeds, there's some talent there last night. I mean, it was a really good game by Wagner, but they play 7 guys. Like, that's not a formula to win against a 1 seed. Then you have Montana State and Grambling State. They play tonight. I don't think either of those two teams are going to win a game as a 16. Stetson, I think, is the most talented 16 seed out there, and they play UConn. Like, that's just a terrible matchup. But Jalen Blackman, if you're looking for a guard who can really go, he scored 43 points in the ASUN title game. He is one of the best guard scorers in the country. Stephon Swenson right next to him. That's a really good guard duo, but they're playing UConn. They're not going to win that game. So you can still find things to enjoy about these games, but odds are they're probably not going to win.
We're talking to Sean Paul, Field of 68 here, and my last question is very simple. Where can people go to find your thoughts, find your articles, and what's your Twitter handle?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Sean Paul CBB to see all of the NCAA tournament thoughts I have and tweeting about random transfers because everybody is entering the transfer portal nowadays. So maybe San Diego State will get a couple of them.
We probably will. I want to ask you one more thing before I let you go. I mean, I told everybody before you came on, I said, this guy's really knowledgeable. So get your brackets out. And you have done nothing to change my mind, Sean. I mean, I can't believe the in-depth knowledge you have. The one thing that people are saying this year is that UConn, Houston, and Purdue, those 3 are just better than everybody. Do you have all 3 of them being able to get to the Final Four, or are they likely to run into some problems somewhere? I know you don't think UConn will. What about the other 2?
That's a great question. Well, I'll just say my pick here. I have UConn winning the whole thing. I know that's a very chalk pick these days, but that's just the best team I've seen this year. I've watched a lot of UConn because they're just that fun to watch. they're the best team I've seen. I'm perfectly okay being wrong if they're not going to win it all. But the other two, I have Houston going down in the round of 32. I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but I could air my thoughts on them real fast. Their defense is elite, like always. Kelvin Sampson's a great coach, but I've said for months what's going to happen to Houston when LJ Cryer and Jamal Shead have an off-scoring night. And we saw exactly what happens in that situation against Iowa State. They were completely outmatched by a really good Iowa State team as a 2 seed. Probably should have been a 1 seed in my opinion, but they got completely outmatched because they don't have enough scoring outside of those two. They need those two to combine for 40 points in a game if they're going to win that game against a high-level team. I have Texas A&M taking them down in the round of 32. For me, it just comes down to the lack of scoring options, and they are just so depleted right now, which isn't the style that Kelvin Sampson wants his team to have. He likes having a ton of depth, but Jawan Roberts is shaken up right now. He should play, I assume. He played in the conference title game, but I don't think he's 100%. You're down 3 rotation players. Houston's just not as good as the other 2 teams, in my opinion. I think it's UConn and Purdue and then a decently sized gap between Houston and the other 2.
Okay.
I don't think Houston's going to make a deep run. I just don't see it this year. Purdue, I have making it to, I think, the Elite 8 and losing. Obviously, they can win it all too, but I think UConn is the best of that bunch by a pretty clear margin.
Well, Sean, I'm a lot smarter about the tournament than I was 20 minutes ago. Thanks for great insight. Let's catch up to you again, and we'll preview the Aztec Sweet 16 matchup against UConn, the one that you don't think is going to happen.
Title rematch? All right, I'm down for that. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Why not? Hey, we owe them from last year. We appreciate it, Sean. Thanks. Great stuff as always. Again, give us the Twitter thing, and it's the Field of 68, the website that people can follow, because the rest of the guys are just as smart as you are. So tell us again.
Twitter at Sean Paul CBB, and the Field of 68. I believe it's just at the Field of 68. Nightly show every night with a bunch of really smart college basketball minds, and they'll be going live again tonight. So make sure you pay attention to that. The Field of 68 daily, a written version of everything you need to know about college basketball. Subscribe to that newsletter. You can find all that information on the Field of 68's Twitter, and I believe it's on mine as well.
Awesome. Wow. Great stuff, Sean. We really enjoyed it. Thanks again. We'll still talk to you again. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, have a good one, guys.
There you go. Sean Paul from the Field of 68. All right. Well, I have St. Mary's in my bracket going to the Final Four. Yes. He thinks they're going to lose in the first game.
Yes.
I have Houston in my bracket winning it all.
Yes.
He thinks they're going to be out in the second game.
Yes.
Your
bracket's on point.
Should I just crumple it up now?
No. Your bracket is on point, and the best part is crossing those teams out.
Well, he's pretty smart. He's a lot smarter than I am. We'll see how it all turns out. More Gwynn and Chris coming up. We got a daily gambit ahead. One of the 2 of us is hot picking these games. So we'll do some more of that when we return. Hour number 2. Gwynn and Chris coming up.
Bucks 0 for 3, flew out to deep left his last time. Swings at the first pitch, grounds into the right side. Cronenworth has it go off the glove into right field. Hernandez rounding third. On his way, he will score. And for the first time tonight, the Dodgers lead. It's 3-2.
That's just bad luck for Cronenworth. This ball actually goes through his glove. He's walking off the field right now to get a new glove.
Tony Gwynn Jr. has better eyes than the rest of us.
I didn't see that either.
How did he know that?
I have no idea. And he's live at the game, like up high.
How did he know that?
I have no idea.
I have to ask him
Yeah.
next time we talk to him. Yeah, he was right. The ball went right through the glove. It went through the glove. It's Glovegate.
Glovegate 2024.
And it cost the Padres. Cost the Padres on
cry?
opening. No, yeah, I'm going to cry.
You're gonna cry?
I'm a little bit upset. We're running out of time, Skraby. We're already a game back of the Dodgers in the NL West, and we're running out of time. I'm sad. 5-2 Dodgers over the Padres early this morning. That there was the key play, though. Had the ball not gone somehow through the glove of Jake Cronenworth, it's a double play. The inning is over, and the game remains tied 2-2. But it did not happen. I can't explain it. Jake was very matter of fact about it afterwards, too. He just said, it could have happened at any time. I'm like, really? What do you mean it could have happened? It doesn't happen.
Because someone crawled into the dugout in the middle of the seventh and loosened his webbing. That's how that happens, Chris.
Well, you go ahead and keep thinking that. I'm not going to disagree with you because it's as good of explanation as any.
I heard that Shohei Ohtani was doing a jig in the dugout, and everybody was watching him do the jig, and someone crawled in.
And that's when Kike Hernandez snuck in from behind.
That's exactly right.
It's just, it's not probable. All right. Your theory is not probable, but neither is any other theory. Like I said, I've seen how many? 100,000 ground balls in my lifetime.
That's a lot of ground balls.
That was just a chopping one-hop bouncer. That was not even hard hit.
And it just 87 miles an hour off the bat.
Right through the glove. I still am like so perplexed. Padres and Dodgers again tomorrow morning. Sam Levitt on the Eco Water San Diego pregame show. That's at 2 a.m. tomorrow. Game time 3:05. Joe Musgrove against Yoshi Yamamoto.
I'm really excited for this game. I just don't know I'm going to be in a place to wake up for it live. So this may be the only time in my life I will DVR a game.
Well, I'll DVR the game.
I know you will.
Thanks again to all of you who came down to 7 Mile Casino this morning, an event sponsored by our friends at Soapy Joe's. Over 350 Padre fans. A couple of Dodger fans were thrown in there. Not many, though. Not many. Hey, and they were very respectful Dodger fans. I have no issues if you're going to show up as a Dodger fan, but you got to realize that you're going to take a little heat. You're at a Padres party. Yeah, people were tremendous this morning. Great turnout. So much so that we honestly, some people had to be turned away. And I mean, I apologize to those people, but there's no way anybody, not in our wildest dreams, expected that big of a turnout. This morning. I mean, it's the middle of the night.
So I woke
for
up
heaven's
at
sakes.
2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I set my alarm for 2:10.
Okay.
Which really doesn't matter.
That is kind of silly, but all right.
And then I woke up at 2:10 and I set my alarm for 2:15. So
you took you a couple of tries.
At 2:15. I drive down there. I'm like, I'm just gonna cruise in. I'm gonna find a spot.
That's what I thought.
Out, go right in, first pitch, bada bing, bada boom.
Nope.
No, I searched for a parking spot for 25 minutes, and I'm not complaining. I'm just thinking, you're saying that's incredible. All of the listeners are incredible for joining us this morning. Yeah, you guys were great. Don't anybody take a shot at the San Diego fans. We have great fans here, San Diego. You can take a shot at some of the organizations who've left town. Yeah. Don't be blaming the fans. Blake Snell spoke today. His first news conference with the Giants. Did he badmouth Scott Boras? He did not. Okay. He said, quote, "We'll," as in he, "will throw a bullpen tomorrow and go from there." Blake Snell says he is hoping that he will be ready to start against the first series here in San Diego against the Padres. We had said yesterday, there's no way Blake Snell will be available to pitch against the Padres. I still am not sure. But he says he's going to do it.
So
if there's
something for the Padres to keep in mind, I guess.
If there's anything, never mind.
All right, Logan Webb will start the first game for the Giants, but maybe Blake Snell pitches later in that series.
I remember now. If there's anything we can hang our hat on is we know that Blake Snell struggles in the beginning of the year.
So if he does pitch that game, he probably won't be.
He's probably gonna have a little extra motivation too.
He'll have motivation, but I don't know that he'll be very sharp.
Does he get booed?
Blake Snell?
There's no chance.
I don't think so.
Does Bob Melvin get booed? I think there's a growing sentiment he
probably will get some boos just because it's in some people's mind last year was his fault.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see about some winners, some losers. We got a lot of good games coming up tonight. And like I said, one of us has been red hot on our picks. It's the Daily Gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in the Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit's our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Chris is gambling responsibly, and we will get to the results here in just 1 second. However, Chris, after I give you all the bets, I am going to tell you about a story that involves betting. It involves Shohei Ohtani, and it involves a termination of employment.
It's a big story right now in the world of sports. It's breaking news, but it has to do with gambling.
Yes.
We'll tell you about it.
Yes.
Shortly.
In a little bit.
Give us some
All
results.
right. So yesterday we did the first 4, which actually should be the first 8 because there's 8 teams. I thought there was no games today, but there are games today.
Yeah, there's 2 more games tonight.
Yes.
So there was 4 teams yesterday, 4 teams today. It should be the not so elite 8.
Yes, there we go. The not so elite 8.
Yeah.
Kind of put them down. A backhanded compliment.
A backhanded compliment because you're right. There's not 4 teams left. The final 4 is all about 4 teams.
Yeah.
Well, there's not 4 teams in what they call the first 4.
Yeah.
There's 8.
There's 8. Come on, people. All right. So Howard and Wagner. Howard were 3.5-point favorites over Wagner. Chris chose Wagner. I chose Howard, and Wagner won 71-68. Although Howard had 3 shots to tie the game at the end of the game, and they missed all 3 shots.
Yes, they did.
All 3 shots.
Could have gone to overtime, but it did not.
Colorado State, they were favored by 2.5 points over Virginia. Both of us chose Colorado State, and we were both correct. 67-42, drubbing.
Yeah, Virginia was really, really bad.
Nuggets at the Timberwolves. The Nuggets were 8-point favorites in this game. We both chose the Timberwolves, and the Nuggets won the game, but they did not cover the spread. They won 115-112, so we win that one too.
All right.
Luka Doncic, over under 33.5 points in the game last night. Both of us went over, and both of us were way wrong because he had 18 points.
He had 16 assists, though. He was passing the ball last night, unfortunately, for us. Yeah.
On the nights that you're not going to be a selfish player is the night I bet on you.
Yeah.
Then you got the Kings, -1.5 on the puck line over the Blackhawks. Both of us chose the Kings. Kings won 6-2. All right, real quick. This hour at 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Celebrate and save at Ashley's anniversary sale with Hot Buys, your choice of color, starting at just $399. Ashley sleep mattresses starting at $250 plus. Receive a free adjustable base with select mattress purchases only at Ashley. Now, the news story we were just referencing has to do with Shohei Ohtani. His translator, Ipe Mizuhara, this just is breaking here in the last couple minutes, but according to the Los Angeles Times, Ohtani's legal team claims that Mizuhara used his funds to place bets with an allegedly illegal bookmaker who is currently under federal investigation. From the LA Times, in a statement, the West Hollywood law firm said, in the course of responding to recent media inquiries, we discovered that Shohei has been the victim of a massive theft, and we are turning the matter over to authorities. He was working. So this is all happening now because he actually translated after the game last night.
Yeah.
So he just got found out, and Shohei Ohtani fired him.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea by Shohei Ohtani. This guy apparently wired $4.5 million of Ohtani's money to himself.
How does he get access to that?
$4.5 million.
Wow.
That he sent from Ohtani's bank to a bookmaking operation to make the bets that he was making.
That could get really dicey for Shohei
The guy
Ohtani.
stole $4.5 million. Now that, Shohei Ohtani probably wouldn't even notice that that's gone.
Well, I guess he didn't because the investigation uncovered this.
Yeah, but that's this is why we say bet responsibly, be careful out there.
Yeah,
a lot of people cannot rein it in.
No,
they can't control it, man. Gambling gets the best of them. And I mean, this guy, his life's over. Basically, he's probably going to do plenty of jail time for this.
I mean, $4.5 million is like a lot of money.
That's a lot of money to steal from somebody.
If I'm Shohei, I'm not going to blame him for not knowing because he probably doesn't ever look at his finances. He's got someone to do it for him.
Yeah,
but that person needs to be
called into question as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
but an additional theory as to the glove gate. They actually fired him for this because he was caught doing glove.
He was the guy that loosened the strings.
Yes, Izuhara,
because he had a bet on the game.
Yes.
He had a $4.5 million bet on the game. He had to do something to affect the outcome, so he loosened the strings on Cronenworth's glove. That's another great theory, Skraby.
Yeah. It all was too.
It's all coming together now.
Too coincidental that you get fired after a 5-2 win.
It's all making sense to me now.
It is
why the Padres lost.
By the way, this guy is also not very smart because he might have had one of the best jobs in the world by being Shohei Ohtani's translator.
Pretty easy job.
You just go around the world with him and you translate. That sounds amazing.
Not too tough. Anyway, but he will no longer be doing it. All right, very good. Here we go into some bets tonight. We only have a couple minutes, so let's get to it. Start with the first four. Montana State, 4.5 points over Grambling State. I don't know anything about either of these teams.
What's the Montana State?
They are the Bobcats. Grambling State Tigers.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Bobcats minus the 4.5 here. It's kind of a West Coast pick. That's really all I can. And not that Montana's on the West Coast, but it's closer than Grambling.
So you're taking
Montana minus 4.5.
All right. You know what? I think a Tiger could beat a Bobcat. So
you're going to Grambling. You're taking the 4.5
yes,
points.
I am.
All right. The second game tonight is another Mountain West matchup. Boise State against Colorado from the Pac-12. Colorado's favored by 3. Skraby, who do you like here?
Colorado is favored by 3. You know what? I'm going to go Mountain West. I'm going to go Boise State.
Stay with the Mountain West. I mean, like I said, everybody's picking on Virginia. Nobody's giving Colorado State any credit last night. They looked awfully good.
Yeah, you still need to actually win the game.
And maybe the Mountain West is just going to really do well in this tournament. I'm going to hope for that. I will take Boise State myself. A couple of games tomorrow morning.
Yes.
If you're wondering, by the way, because I'm like this, like what game is going to be first on my TV tomorrow morning in the NCAA tournament?
Well, there's always one game that's first.
There's always one game at 9:20 in the morning tomorrow, and that game will be Michigan State against Mississippi State, if you're wondering. Okay. Duquesne and BYU will play at 9:45 tomorrow morning.
I love Duquesne.
Well, do you want to bet on them? BYU is favored by 10 over Duquesne, as you call them.
No, I'm going to go BYU.
You are?
Yeah.
Well, it's not in my DNA to ever pick BYU, so I can't do that. I'll take Duquesne plus 10.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I will. One other game tomorrow morning, Long Beach State and the number 2 seed Arizona. Arizona 20.5 point favorites here. And Arizona is really impossible to bet on or against because they either blow you out or they play terrible.
Yeah.
And, I mean, last year they lost in the first round to Princeton. Now you want me to give 20.5 points?
Am I up first or you up first?
I'm up first. I can't think what to do here. I should root for Long Beach State because of our friend Bobby Smitherin, but I'm going to take Arizona.
Right.
Give all those points. What are you going to do? Remember the Long Beach State coach, Dan Monson, has already been fired.
Yes.
But he's coaching the game.
They're playing for their coach.
Well,
I mean, 20.5 points is a lot. I'm going to go with Long Beach State.
You're going to take it.
Lose by 19.
Lose by 19, he says. Okay, good for you. One game in the NBA tonight. Matchup of Eastern Conference powers. The Celtics are at home 10.5 over the Bucks.
What's going on?
You're first.
What's going on?
The Celtics are good. Are they that good that they should be favored 10.5 points over the second place team in the East?
Is Giannis not playing? Is Dame not playing?
Not that I know of.
Did they fire Doc Rivers?
Not that I know of.
All right. Well, I'm going to go.
Oh, I changed my mind. I just saw it. Antetokounmpo ruled out versus Celtics.
All right. He's been hurt a lot lately.
That's a big deal.
I'm going to do Celtics.
You're going to take the Celtics with that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to still take the Bucks. I remember the Lakers went in there without LeBron and without Anthony Davis and beat the Celtics this year. I'm still not sold on the Celtics. I got one more game.
So you're going Bucks?
I'm going Bucks plus the 10.5. All right, we got one more game to wager on. I forgot to give my record coming into tonight's action.
No, you did.
I did?
Yeah, you said you were doing really well.
I did, but I didn't actually give the numbers.
Oh, okay. What are the
I'm
numbers?
8-1.
Ooh.
So you might want to listen to what I'm
Why
saying this week.
didn't you do any betting at 7 Mile Casino earlier?
I probably should have. All right, here's the last one. Dodgers, Padres, total runs scored, over under 8.5.
Over under
this morning, 7 runs were scored. Tomorrow, 8.5.
Yamamoto and Joe.
I'm going to say over this time because nobody even got an extra base hit today. And they still scored 7 runs, the two teams.
That's far out.
That's hard to believe that'll happen again. I'll take over.
I think Yamamoto is going to struggle, and I'm going to say the Padres go over.
Beat him up?
Yeah.
I hope you're right. I know you're really rooting against this guy.
I just think
it's nothing that Yamamoto did other than that he signed a ridiculous contract for a guy that's never pitched a game in Major League Baseball.
It makes 0 sense to me. It makes 0 sense.
It doesn't make 0 sense. He did win the MVP of his league 3 years in a row.
Okay, yes, he did.
So it makes a little sense.
But if those guys were good enough, Chris, they would be playing in Major League Baseball.
I got you. All right, there's our Daily Gambit segment for today. Still ahead on the program, we got Sports Court. We got Chris versus the Fan, some trivia. We've got the Big Five. But when we return to Gwynn and Chris, the National Football League, they are making a huge change to the rules.
What?
Or they may be anyway. We will tell you what that proposed rule change is.
Wow.
If this goes through, the NFL will look unlike it ever has before.
This is a tease for all ages because I have no idea what you're talking about.
What's coming up next after we check traffic?
From the 90
get to this NFL story, we welcome you back to Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello, Matt Skraby. Together in our Odyssey Palace studios. Tony Gwynn Jr., is in South Korea. And he called the game today along with Jesse Agler. Dodgers won it 5-2. The season starts with an episode of Glovegate. What cruel fate awaits the Padres in Game 2? Make sure you tune in at 2 o'clock this morning for Sam Levitt's pregame show, 3:05.
It's my
what is this from the X-Files or something?
No, I went to our free music service and I typed in X-Files, and these are the songs.
This is what you got.
Yes.
Okay. All right, perfect. Sunday, something to keep in mind. Sunday. It is Fan Fest. Padres Fan Fest.
That's right.
2024.
That's right.
And we are going to be broadcasting live there, you and I.
Yes, we are.
Hopefully Tony will drop by, but I know he's going to be busy.
He's managing a celebrity softball game that I think he got annoyed by me asking.
We asked him 50 times, you and I, if we could play, and every single time he said no.
I think he got annoyed.
He did. And we stayed on it. We're like, come on, Tony.
I think that's why he got annoyed.
You just wanted to hang out with some of the celebrities. I don't blame you.
Of course.
Sounded like a lot of fun, but they're not going to let us play. They will have us hosting a show, so come by and say hello. We're on from 4 to 6 Sunday in the late afternoon.
Yes. Also,
down at Fan Fest. We'll see you there.
Ben and Woods are going to be there for 2 hours. I believe they take the first 2 hours, and then Andy and Nelson take the second 2 hours.
Now, don't worry about them. Just come visit us.
Don't say that.
Just come visit us between 4 and 6.
And visit them.
All right. One other thing. Go to Skraby's Twitter account, at Matt Skraby. He has put up the easiest link I've ever seen.
Oh, a QR code?
What is it?
It's a QR code.
Put up a QR code. All you have to do is click the QR code, or however you work those.
Yes. No, you
the people I'm talking to will know what to do.
You take a picture of it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I actually do know how to work a QR code.
Okay, good.
But snap a quick shot of the QR code. That will go to Skraby's Twitter account, get the QR code. That will take you right to our NCAA March Madness Tournament Challenge.
Yeah, let me go
for
see
this show.
What we have.
We have almost 100 entries already. We're closing in on 100 entries. My bracket's there. Skraby's there. Tony's there. So
Adam Klug just signed up.
Yeah, we want to get your bracket. There's no prize, but bragging rights are pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have the best, and we'll give updates throughout the tournament on whose brackets are the best. So make sure you sign up. Go to Skraby's Twitter, at Matt Skraby, and follow along from there.
I also retweeted from 97.3 The Fan SD. So if you have that too, you can go there.
All right, here's the story in the National Football League that may change the way the game looks forever. The NFL Competition Committee has proposed. Hey, well, we all got up at 2 o'clock this morning, so
yes.
we can be excused. The NFL's Competition Committee has proposed a revamped kickoff, and it resembles the alignment that was used during the XFL during the 2020 and during the 2023 seasons. This is a high-profile change that owners will consider next week. It could change the way the game looks forever. Here's the proposal. The kicker would continue to kick off from the 35-yard line. But the other 10 players on his team would not line up next to him. They would line up downfield at the receiving team's 40-yard line.
Okay.
The receiving team's return guys would line up at the 30-yard line.
Okay.
10 yards away. And then the two return men would be deep. And then the ball's kicked off. Apparently,
you can't run until the ball
you can't get a running
head.
start. You can't get a running head start if you're on the kickoff team. That supposedly will reduce the risk of severe injury. And apparently in the XFL, they had 90% more kickoff returns than they had previously. Because keep in mind, there's hardly ever a kickoff return anymore in the NFL. They just boom it through the end zone.
Very rare.
But now you would have your teammates already lined up downfield, so you'd have a good chance of pinning the team much deeper. That's why you would, choose not to kick it through the end zone. You want the return. If you kind of can't picture this in your mind, Skraby, I sent him a picture of it, what it looks like. And if you throw it out there on Twitter or something, people can at least get a idea what this looks like. But it's a strange look. Now, there will be no more under this new rule, if it's voted in, there'll be no more surprise onside kicks because there's nobody to onside kick to. Your teammates are down the field.
I don't know what we're doing here.
If you want to do an onside kick, you have to tell the officials, and then you line up the old way, and you try an onside kick. You have to actually tell them an onside kick is coming.
Well, that defeats the purpose of an onside kick.
Well, I'm just saying. That's what they're going to be considering. If 24 of the 32 owners ratify it, the rule would go into effect for 1 year only, and then they obviously would take a look at it and see how well it worked or didn't work. As I said, the idea is to increase the number of returns and minimize the high-speed collisions.
I get all that, and I understand it's very dangerous kickoffs because Greg Camarillo told me, former NFL player who's been on our show many times, we have to get him on soon.
Yeah.
He told me that he was on a kickoff team, and sometimes he would be hitting that wedge, and it would knock some cobwebs loose.
Yeah.
So running full speed. These guys are monsters, and they're running full speed downfield. That is dangerous.
My first thought is this is ridiculous, and it's going to look ridiculous. But then again, that's what I thought about every one of these Major League Baseball rule changes.
Oh, that's a good point.
And guess what? They've all worked out pretty well.
That's a pretty good point.
So consider that they did in the XFL for 2 seasons, and it worked well for them. So the NFL might soon put that in. There's also another proposal that will prohibit the hip drop tackling technique.
This has been a hot topic for a couple years now.
Yeah, where you grab a guy around the waist and then you yourself fall.
You take your legs out and you use your weight to pull them to the ground.
You just pull them to the ground. Too many guys are getting injured using this technique.
Well, and Tony Pollard, I think, was the one who really put it in the spotlight because it happened during the 49ers and Cowboys playoff game a couple years ago.
Yeah. Tyreek got hurt that way in that Monday night game against
the
Titans.
Changed his entire season.
A little bit. Anyway, and I'm not just mentioning him. There was a lot of guys hurt.
There were.
But I remember Tyreek for was one of the examples. All right, there's your NFL update. When we come back, we're going to open things up to Sports Court.
Woohoo!
Oh, boy. I still don't have my wig, Skrabe.
That's my fault. That's my fault.
All right, have yourself a spicy little meatball, and we'll come back with more Gwynn and Chris.
Ben and
right, welcome back to Gwynn and Chris, otherwise known as the show where we uncover great conspiracy theories. Skraby is diving deep into this breaking story that Shohei Ohtani's interpreter has been fired. The interpreter, massive theft alleged, $4.5 million in wire transfers sent from Ohtani's bank account to a bookmaking operation, set off a series of events that has the interpreter fired. But Skraby wants to find fault with Ohtani here, so he's doing everything he can to dig up some dirt on Shohei.
Well, I'm not digging up dirt, and I'm so happy we get to play this again.
Oh, God. Third time today we've played
this.
It
It
is.
is. I mean, it's a happy, what is it, Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
So it's not even that I'm trying to drum stuff up. This is from the ESPN article. But initially, here's straight from the article. Initially, a spokesman for Ohtani told ESPN the slugger had transferred the funds to cover Mizuhara's gambling debt. The spokesman presented Mizuhara to ESPN for a 90-minute interview on Tuesday night, during which Mizuhara laid out his account in great detail. However, as ESPN prepared to publish the story Wednesday, the spokesman disavowed Mizuhara's account and said Ohtani's lawyers would issue a statement. So, long story short, if this truly is coming from Shohei Ohtani's account, and I'm not trying to be like a jerk here, this seems like this could get him in trouble, even if he's not involved. Gambling and your money as a player is very serious.
Well, so what you're telling me now is that there's some thinking that Ohtani himself transferred the money. It wasn't the interpreter
from his account.
It wasn't the interpreter, but the previous story indicated that the interpreter stole the money,
yes,
and transferred it. Now, there's some people who believe maybe Ohtani himself transferred the money, in which case, I guess, and people out there know the law a lot better than I do.
Yeah.
But maybe he could be connected in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani could be facing 6 or 7 months in jail. That would put a crimp in the Dodgers' plans to go 162-0.
It really will. It really will. It really will. Apparently, he's
if he can't beat Shohei Ohtani, jail him.
Jail him.
That's what I say.
The wire transfer payments, I guess, were sent from Ohtani's account to an associate of the bookie, according to multiple sources.
All
ESPN reviewed bank information showing Ohtani's name on two $500,000 payments sent last September and October. I don't know how you're able to get Shohei Ohtani's financial information, but that's
I don't know.
Besides the point.
Who wrote the story? Was it
ESPN?
No, was it?
Oh, was it Jeff
tagged?
Passan?
No, it could have been Alden. No, Tisha Thompson.
Tisha Thompson. Yeah.
Tisha.
The original story was in the Los Angeles Times.
All right. There you have the latest. We'll keep you up to date. But that is the big news of the day, whether you're interested in it or not, that Shohei Ohtani had $4.5 million allegedly stolen from him by his interpreter. And now they're coming up with other possibilities. Do any of them tie into Glovegate?
Not on that article.
Not in that article.
I will go ahead and
you
send
keep digging
my
on
theory.
that. You keep digging on Glovegate.
My question, and
I
Matthew,
expect you to break a story in the next 48 hours that calls the result of today's Padre game into question.
I think this is going to turn into something.
I hope you're right.
I don't think it's going to turn into anything crazy, but there has to be investigations because that's kind of
They got to look into it a little. I mean, like I said, Jay Cronenworth just blew it off and said, well, it's...
Oh, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about Shohei Ohtani's
I don't care
name
about,
being
I
on
don't
the
care
money.
about this thing with the, $4.5 million for
care
Shohei
about
Ohtani's a
Glovegate.
nickel. I care about Glovegate. And Jay Cronenworth just basically saying, well, it's really too bad that happened. I'm like, yeah.
Well, what is he supposed to say?
I don't know, but this is ridiculous that this happened.
It is kind of ridiculous.
I, by the way, looked at the manufacturer of the glove before he took it off. Should I throw that manufacturer under the bus for producing faulty equipment?
Who is it?
Be careful the next time you buy Wilson brand athletic equipment. There's a Wilson glove.
I didn't know Wilson made gloves.
No, they don't make them. They don't make them too well, apparently.
You're right. Apparently they don't.
All right, let's check traffic. Then we're going to get into today's sports court.
Chris, we have started something because on the chat, people are starting to buy into this whole Glovegate conspiracy.
Something happened.
Annie Halbrin came up with the name Glovegate,
Yes.
and we've run with it.
Like I said, something happened. He took infield with that very same glove just 5 to 10 minutes before the ball went through his glove.
Yeah.
How did he do that? He caught throws from shortstop, third base, and second base
all game,
warming up the infield prior to the beginning of the 8th inning. So how did his glove just all of a sudden give way?
I don't know.
Or how did he not notice that it was about to give way? I mean, there's a lot of questions I have here.
And Jacob, who we met Jacob earlier today. Thank you, Jacob, for coming out. Actually, Jacob and Cesar both asked for our autograph, which is very nice. I didn't know what to do.
You like giving out autographs, don't you?
It's like it's
pretty cool.
One of the 3 times I've ever done it. And,
it's a perk.
And I didn't know what to do. But
it's
anyway.
a perk. Well, you sign your name.
Yes,
that's
Jacob
pretty much
said,
it.
and the ball went through his glove like hot butter. There you go. You all right with that, Chris?
Let's go to the sports court.
All right.
I'll do the best I can without a wig.
If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. All right, let's get into the first one. We have a fantasy, we have a group text one, we have a streaming one, and we also have a first date-ish idea. So here's the first one. You guys have been talking about fantasy sports group text lately, and I have my own group text problem. I am like Chris. I don't want to be on the group text, and I don't want to see any notifications of said group text. Chris is 100% correct when he says one message means 50 messages. The problem is the league commissioner uses the group text for league announcements.
Yeah.
We have had issues in the past with people knowing deadlines, etc. He says, I can't be in the league if I am not on the group text.
Oh boy.
Doesn't care if I ever respond, but wants to know I am at least on the notices. Should I just join the group text, Chris?
Yeah, you can always just quit the league. Right? Is that true?
I mean,
here's the thing. You were telling me the other day that I could mute the group text. If I do it, all that means is that the alerts don't pop up on my phone every 5 minutes and disturb my day. But yes, it does disturb my day because I'm doing the look. I'm doing the show. My phone is right here, Skraby, right, just out of camera range.
Yep.
My phone is down here.
Yep.
Whenever a notification pops up, what
It lights
happens?
up.
I go, oh.
Yeah,
I look over.
Well, that's why I have my phone out of sight.
And then I go, oh, it's just one of the stupid group texts for my new fantasy league that Skraby made me get into.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, guys. This guy is acting like he is so much better than all of us.
So not much better than all of anybody.
You know,
I just don't like a group text.
Our league commish Trevor was very nice this morning. He said hi to both of us. He even told me that every time the group text goes crazy, he thinks about you being mad at everyone.
Well, he doesn't have to do that anymore because you've taught me how to mute the text. But from what I understand, if you mute the text, you just don't get the notifications popping up, but you can go back through your phone and refer to the chat.
Yes, you can.
So that is my suggestion to this.
Just mute it. And
just mute it. And then when you want to look at the updates, then you could go back through and look at the updates and get the information you need. It's very simple.
There you go.
Very simple. Skraby helped me solve the problem.
Yeah, and
so I'm helping you solve the problem.
We are in agreement on this one. So, sir, I think you should just join the group text and mute it and just play in the league.
And again, I want the people that are in our league listening. I'm not muting it because I'm not interested in what's said there.
No, he's muting it because he's better than us.
All right. We'll just stay with that.
You're muting it so that you can get
now
to the show.
Just stay with that. I'm better than you. That's why I'm muting it. Exactly.
All right.
Order.
Oh my God. The courtroom is a little chaotic. A little chaotic today.
All right. Here we go to the second one.
Up here comes a cute. No, that's something else.
Group text. No.
See, this is what happens. I get disturbed. I'm turning my phone over. There.
Chris, you're in these a lot, actually. I just put it together. I am like Chris and absolutely hate streaming so incredibly much. It's not about the tech part of it. It's about forcing me into using their platform. Here is the problem. My wife loves streaming, and she is in charge of those sorts of things in our house. She figured that we are going to be saving a lot of money by subscribing to only the services that we need. So she is ready to make the change. I don't normally question her about this because she is very good with this stuff. And I'm up first, Chris. Do I dare upset the order of the universe and question her about the streaming decision? I am not married. Barely have ever had a relation. No, I'm just kidding. But Chris and Tony have taught me a lot about marriage.
Right.
And I'm thinking that you do not upset the order of the universe, but I don't think there's any problem with you presenting your issues with the Switch. And you go from there. But you have to realize that you may just have to go down the road of streaming. Chris?
Eventually.
Yeah.
You have to fight for your right
to
watch.
Party!
Yeah, to watch stuff on cable. Stay with it. Continue to fight the good fight.
To fight the good fight?
Keep fighting the good fight.
You are not telling him this because I know that if Lori came home and was like, "Hey, Chris, we're going to go streaming only,"
She's tried
I think
that.
you would fall in line.
She's tried that and she's got nowhere. She knows already that I will refuse steadfastly to go away from the cable and my DVR control. But she kind of agrees with me. She likes that better also. She's not a techie like you are. She's more of an untechie like I am. So even though we do stream a lot, we have Netflix and all that stuff, and we want, she likes having the cable and the control that comes with cable. So I'm telling this listener, what's his name?
Gentleman.
Keep fighting the good fight, man. We got to keep cable TV alive as long as we can. Do not cut the cord. Do not cut the cord. Do not cut the cord.
I can imagine Chris raising his sign while he's chanting.
Do not cut the cord. Keep the cord. Oh, I got a better one. Keep the cord.
Keep the cord.
Keep the cord.
Yeah, that's a better one than
that's
do
better.
not
Yeah,
cut
it's better.
the cord.
Yeah, keep the cord. Keep
Um,
fighting a good fight. Keep it alive. Look, we're going to lose. Eventually, everything's going to be streamed, but let's put it off as long as we can.
Dan says, happy wife, happy life.
I understand that,
Chance
too.
Bowman at the same time said, happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, I know.
We've
We've taught you that lesson many times, but in this case, I think you got to happy wife, happy life, but that doesn't mean she can be right every single time.
Yeah.
You got to, every now and again, you got to pick your battles.
Pick your battles.
And this is a battle worth picking.
Who are we? Oh, we were talking to Woodsy this morning, and we were talking about streaming, and he was like, that's one thing I will pay $400 for is cable because I want cable.
If they tripled my cable bill tomorrow, I'd happily pay it. Anything to not stream.
All right.
There you go.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, I feel pretty strongly about it.
You do. I say do not upset the order of the universe.
Okay, move on.
Not for
we got
me.
one more. Do we have time?
Yeah, of course.
Get it in.
I have been dating this girl for the past 6 weeks, and everything is going great. I'm a huge Padres fan, and she's not a baseball fan at all. She said it was boring. However, she did say she wouldn't mind going to a game throughout the year. Here's my problem. I want to take her to opening day, but I am not sure if that's a good date idea considering what she told me. It's still a new relationship, and I don't want to mess this up. Chris, do you think taking her to opening day is a good date idea?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Even after 6 weeks and she doesn't like baseball.
It's time we check out if we can get her a little bit interested.
Ah, okay. So this is a test.
A little bit. I mean, because I think you want out there, you want to marry somebody who at least understands your interests.
Yeah, wants to go with you.
They don't have to have your interests.
True.
But I think in order to be a successful relationship, it's important that they understand your interests. I don't watch The Real Housewives, but I don't begrudge my wife sitting there for 7 hours and watching them.
Everybody, he loves the housewife shows.
I don't.
Just
I
says
really,
he doesn't.
truly don't. But yeah, so I think, like my wife, watched me do fantasy sports for the longest time. She thought it was kind of silly. Now, guess who plays fantasy sports? My wife. She kind of found out she likes it.
Yeah.
So take her to a ball game. What's the worst that can happen? You buy her a little, buy some. So there's so many food options at the ball game. You have a nice, relaxing time. You chit chat. If after 4 or 5 innings she's really struggling, you can always, you don't have to stay the whole game. But I think she should understand your interests.
I say you stay away from this one so early because
goodness.
Chris, I have been to a baseball game on a first date before.
Not a first date. You didn't say it was first date.
Okay, you're right. All right, you're right. I would say gauge her interest and go off of how she reacts to you asking her to go to opening day. If she's like, "Oh yeah, that sounds fun," then she's in. But if she's like, "Oh yeah,"
well, I got a better idea.
What?
Avoid opening day at all costs.
Oh, actually,
it's not a real ball
game. Chat said Tony Gwynn opening day.
Yeah, it's not. Opening day is the worst game to go to. Go to a regular game.
Yeah, but
don't bring her to that. She's gonna hate the crowd and all the non-fans that are there. Yeah, don't do that.
Oh man, Matthew says, like me, I read Twitter and Reddit while the wife watches Love Is Blind and The Bachelor.
Sure.
Tyler says Chris strikes me as more of a below deck guy over Real Housewives.
Why is that?
Joey makes a good point.
Why do I strike that person as a below deck guy? Would you suppose?
I don't know. You like boat shoes? Maybe you actually never wear shoes.
Yeah.
Joey says, let the lady pick it. You
shoes.
don't let the lady pick out a Padres crush, and you'll be solid.
Yes, with the new pants they're wearing these days, she's bound to be interested.
Like, hey, go look at Manny. I think they call it a dump truck.
She's going to be interested.
All right.
There goes the sports court. Coming up next, it's time for Chris versus the Fans. Trivia. Dial in if you want to play today. 833-288-0973. Here we go, 4 o'clock hour. Gwynn and Chris. Chris, hello. Matt Skraby together in our Odyssey Palace studios. Tony Gwynn Jr., of course. Certainly not idle today. He called the ball game in the middle of the night in Korea, and he and Jesse Agler will be back at it in the middle of the night again. 2 a.m. for the Sammy Levitt-led Eco Water San Diego Padres pregame show. That's a 2 a.m., 3:05 first pitch.
2:05 a.m. if we're being serious.
For Sammy?
Yeah.
All right.
Did you see Sammy put up a video of himself right before the pregame show doing like sprints in the hallway?
Yes.
You did? Okay, good. I'm glad you saw that.
I, along with every other person on earth, subscribe to Sam Levitt's Twitter feed.
You know,
he has more followers than anybody I've ever seen in my life.
I'm getting, I love Sam, but I'm getting a little jealous of Sam and the love for him.
Really?
So, yeah.
He can do no wrong.
He can't.
There is no argument there.
And I don't blame people for loving him.
He can do absolutely no wrong.
He's very lovable.
Yeah. I mean,
all right, that's
well, the reason he's lovable is he does the post-game show, then he drives down to 7 Mile Casino and he joins the Ben and Wood show.
I know. He does.
He's
great
everywhere.
things like that.
He's everywhere.
That's incredible.
He is Sam Levitt, and we're not. Simple as that. Gwynn and Chris program here coming up on a round of Chris versus the fans. And I mentioned this earlier, Skraby, but we ran into a lot of people this morning. Over 350 people came down to 7 Mile Casino for our opening day party. And most of the folks that I was lucky enough to say hello to said, you know, the time I was playing against you on Chris versus the fans, this happened or that happened.
Yeah.
But everybody had a recollection of their time on Chris versus the fans.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciated that too. So this segment has become quite the hit, apparently, with all of those out there. If you'd like to play, good luck. Keep dialing 833-288-0973. It's hard to get through because everybody wants to qualify. I don't even know if everybody wants to qualify for the grand prize.
I think they do.
You do?
Yes, everybody always says, I hope I win.
Really?
Before they hang out.
2-night stay at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and dinner for two. Immerse yourself in timeless elegance at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas. A luxury resort, gaming, and meeting destination. The legacy of Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, built upon more than 70 years of sublime beauty, unparalleled service, and timeless design. Book now at FontainebleauLasVegas.com. Let's play.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, so you have to make it through the rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you're a first-time player, let us know before the first question. You'll get that question for free today. Now, let's get into our first contestant.
You're ready, huh?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. We had the...
I'm doing a lot better, Chris, by the way, than I thought I was going to do. Because I was very tired driving into work.
Got a couple more hours to go. By the way, last night, speaking of Chris versus the fans trivia, Jeopardy crowned a new champion.
Who's that?
I don't know his name, but there was the Tournament of Champions, and he won. And I love Jeopardy. I watch it religiously. I actually tape it every night. It's on my DVR. Sometimes I have to go back and watch 3 or 4 episodes. I don't watch it every night. But I really like Jeopardy. And Ken Jennings he's amazing. He's not only the greatest Jeopardy player of all time, but he's done a remarkable job hosting the show in place of the late Alex Trebek.
Yes.
He's almost as good as you are at hosting Chris versus the fans.
I have to give you credit because when Chris says he does something, he does it.
Does it go all the way in?
And he does record Jeopardy.
I do.
Every single
I like
night.
Jeopardy. I'm not ashamed to admit that. It's a good show.
Yes. Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy are both always on my DVR from Jacob.
Nah, don't do any.
That's a young person.
I do no Wheel of Fortune.
No Wheel of Fortune? I love Wheel of Fortune.
Nah, not into that.
I want to buy a Val, Chris. All right.
I want to buy a Val.
I have Wheel of Fortune game on my phone. Anyway. Let's go to our first contestant. Lance. Hello, Lance.
Hello?
Hey, Lance.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Pretty
Are
good.
you ready
Welcome
to play?
in.
Yeah, I spotty reception, but I'll try my best.
All right, here
All
we
right,
go.
well,
Let's get you in.
It's all right. Skraby's questions are usually pretty spotty, so.
Oh, yeah. Does San Diego State play Thursday or Friday?
50-50.
They play on Friday.
Friday is correct.
Got it.
I figured Chris would know that anyway, so why not try it? Here we go. Question number 2, Lance. What player got his 3,000th hit while playing for the Texas Rangers in 2017?
Adrian Beltre.
Wow. We
Good
got a
job.
player.
Good job.
We got a player.
Lance looking to run the table today.
Yes. Here we go, Lance. Question number 3. You get this right, you're qualified for Las Vegas.
You're on
Chris
your
gets
way.
it wrong, you're qualified for Las Vegas.
That's right.
I'm getting weird.
Getting
All right.
punchy.
Yes. Here we go, Lance. Who holds the Padres record for home runs in a single season as a rookie? Who holds the Padres record for home runs in a single season as a rookie?
Benito Santiago.
Benito Santiago.
I think that was a hell of a good
Stay
guess
there,
right
Lance. Stay there.
there. I was honestly hoping he'd be right so that I didn't have to miss the question, because I don't think I'm going to get this question. Most home runs in a single season by a Padre rookie.
Correct.
I mean, that could be anybody.
No, it couldn't. I mean, there's not many players that are capable.
Yeah,
of
but
doing
somebody could have
this.
hit like 15 home runs as a rookie. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to guess Adrian Gonzalez. You're going to buzz me, so I'll just have to guess Adrian Gonzalez. I can't think of it. Jesus. That was loud.
Chris almost said a bad word.
I know. Surprised me there.
Lance, you are the winner. Stay right there. I got to get
Very
your
good question,
information.
Lance.
That was way easier than I ever
Spotty
imagined.
reception or
Yes,
not?
Stay there, Lance. I'll try to get you in the break. The answer, not Fernando Tatis Jr., who I thought, Jed Jerko.
Yeah, well, I would have never come up with that.
I thought Jed Jerko
I
was
could have
like
guessed
a-
for like 5 years. I would have never come up with Jed Jerko.
I guess Jerko. Okay, all right.
No, it's a good question. I have no
I thought
problem with the
Jerko
question.
was
I
known
just
as
did
like
not
a.
know.
I thought that may have been an easier one, but anyway, doesn't matter.
That's
Lance
a
wins.
tough one. Jed Jerko really became kind of a who's that player. Once his
that
career went on, he hit.
player?
I'm looking him up. He got 23 home runs as a rookie, 2013. Had 30 for the Cardinals in 2016, and then it all kind of went away. Jed Jerko ended up as a 245 lifetime hitter.
Jed Jerko played in the time where I was all over gallivanting across the country trying to find a college.
Who did
Fans
the
like him,
Padres
though, right?
They seemed to like him when he was a rookie and hitting 23 home runs.
good.
It seemed like they liked him that year.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I don't know what else.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. Padres Traded him with cash to the St. Louis Cardinals for an outfielder by the name of John Jay. J-A-Y.
Oh, I remember John Jay.
Yeah, and I don't remember too much about him.
I don't think he did much. Yeah.
No, that goes into the bad trade category.
Who made that trade?
I don't know. 2015. Was AJ here? I think so. 10
Maybe
years
he
ago?
was. Maybe he was. Yeah,
December
I think
of
he was.
2015. So
Let me see.
blame AJ for that one. But, like I said, Jed Jerko really didn't have much of a career, I must say.
AJ Preller took over in 2014, so he did make that trade.
Make that trade. Yeah. Jed Jerko, I would say he is a far less than average ball player in his career.
Okay.
John Jay was even further from average.
Why do I know John Jay's name more so than Jed Jerko? Did John Jay do anything for the Cardinals?
Very little.
Okay.
He was a speedy little center fielder who couldn't really hit his weight.
Okay.
I got some bad news for your Reds.
Oh, no.
Your Cincinnati Reds.
Uh-oh.
And now I picked the Reds to win the division this year. And as soon as I did that,
everything fell apart.
Players started falling like flies.
Yeah.
They lost Noel V. Marte, their third base
that's his own
infield prospect, 80-game suspension, tested positive, PEIs. They lost center fielder TJ Friedel. He's out indefinitely with a fractured wrist. Now Second baseman Matt McLean is being evaluated for a shoulder injury that could require surgery.
Uh-oh. Bet you he gets in faster than any of us.
Yeah, I know. That's just part of the world.
Yeah, I know. That really,
that's like the old thing that celebrities who make $14 million a movie show up to a restaurant, they get their meal comped.
Yeah.
Who makes $4 an hour, nobody ever wants to comp my meal.
Well, someone
it's just a backwards way of looking at it. The restaurant ought to comp a meal to some guy who really needs it, not the celebrity who makes $14 million.
I get it. Yeah. I get it. But then the celebrity says, "Hey, I ate at this restaurant."
Oh, I know.
Everybody goes.
I get it. I get it.
Can someone, if Chris ever walks into your establishment, can you please
comp his meal?
Do something nice for Chris, because he needs a comped meal every once in a while.
He doesn't need a comp meal once in a while. He's not complaining about it.
You do have your own sandwich.
Yeah, at the place down in Spring Valley.
I'm forgetting the name at the moment.
I know. It's a restaurant that
your sandwich is
sandwich is on the menu. God, it's been a long time since I've been down there. It's a great place.
It's the Crisello sandwich.
Yeah, pulled pork sandwich. Pulled pork sando.
It is the pulled pork sando.
Yeah.
And you actually chose that, right? Cali barbecue. That's where
Cali.
Yes.
Cali barbecue. Well, no, I didn't. They approached me and said, "We want to name a sandwich after you. We're going to call it the Monte Crisello instead of the Monte Cristo."
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's going to be the Monte Crisello. So they made that. They put it together. Their chefs worked on it. They realized nobody's going to want to buy one of those.
Why?
That's what they concluded.
People buy the Monte Cristo.
They didn't think they would sell too many of them. So they said, you know what? We decided that we're going to make a pulled pork sandwich, which will be a big seller, and we'll put your name on that one. And I said, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to be on the big seller.
Now, the big thing that happened, though, was that about a year or two after they did that, the San Diego Union-Tribune did a reader's poll.
Yeah.
And named the top 5 sandwiches in the city. And my pulled pork sandwich was on the cover of the Night and Day issue of the San Diego Union-Tribune, and it said, "Get Crisello's pulled pork sando at Cali
Barbecue
Comfort." It's Cali Comfort Barbecue.
Cali Comfort.
Yeah.
So when I Googled Crisello sandwich, that is what came up. It is a San Diego Union-Tribune top 5 sandwich.
Yeah. It's really delicious. So don't just go there and order it because my name's on it. Go there and order it because it's really tasty.
We got to go there, and you got to order it, and I got to know if they have any idea who's ordering that sandwich.
They used to know me very well in there, but I honestly, because I used to live right by there, and I no longer do.
That would be hilarious if they're like...
It was one of the nicest things that anybody ever did.
No,
I was
great.
really... Sean is the guy who runs Cali Comfort.
Yeah, he's great.
He's a terrific guy.
He is.
Real quick on Matt McLean. David Bell, manager of the Reds, says all options are on the table. He will definitely open the season on the injured list. They're hoping he can avoid the shoulder surgery, but if not, that's a big blow to the Reds because he was a big-time young player, up-and-comer. Jonathan India, who is going to be DH this year, will probably go back to second base. That's the what the Reds are going to do about it.
I don't understand what the Reds are doing with Jonathan India. Wasn't he the rookie of the year a couple years ago? Yeah. And then it seems like they have not wanted him on their team ever since.
Matt McLean is better, so he beat him out at second base.
Okay, there you go.
Now Jonathan India is going to be back at second base.
All right.
We've got Grambling State and Montana State going toe-to-toe in the first 8. Skraby renamed it the first 8 instead of the first 4.
Yeah.
In Dayton, 27-26 right now. Montana State leads Grambling State. Keep you up to date on that. Later on, Boise State takes on Colorado. March Madness kicks into gear for full effect tomorrow morning, 9:20.
Really looking forward to this.
Well, I mean, I got the Padres at 3:00 in the morning. I got March Madness tomorrow.
I got a haircut tomorrow.
It's a great week to just get sick. Do not go to work tomorrow or Friday. Got the Aztec game Friday morning. Should be a national holiday, I say.
Was it last year that
the start of March Madness should be a national holiday? Never mind the day after the Super Bowl.
I was going to say, we have to choose one, Chris.
Well, I take March Madness. I'd rather be home watching March Madness all day.
I think the people who are hungover after the Super Bowl.
I will tell you right now that tomorrow I will watch March Madness from, wire to wire, and I will have a difficult time pulling myself away from it to come into work. I'm just giving you a heads up.
We're very different.
You may have to do the show by yourself tomorrow.
What's the
good luck on that
difference?
A hearty har har har. 416 traffic, and then during the break I'll strangle Skraby, and we'll come back after that.
From the
Hey everyone, it's Skraby.
I decided to spare Skraby, despite his rude comments in the last segment. 4:22 is the time, Chris Ello, Mr. Skraby, together in our Odyssey Palace studios here in San Diego, California. Tony Gwynn Jr. will be on the call later on tonight / early tomorrow morning, like 3 a.m. type. Tony and Jesse will have game 2 of the Padres and the Dodgers. If you're just tuning in, Dodgers won the first one 5-2. A 4-run 8th inning did it for L.A. The key play, and you're going to see it over and over on the highlights tonight, was a ground ball that Gavin Lux hit that should have been a double play. Only the ball went right through the glove of Jake Cronenworth.
Like butter.
Like right on through. Something I've never seen that before. I've seen the ball get stuck in the glove. I've never seen it go right through the glove. Skraby has been researching a potential conspiracy theory, and
I've been turned on to another conspiracy theory that's much bigger.
The possibility of foul play here. It has to do with Shohei Ohtani, whose translator was fired today after it was reported that he stole $4.5 million from Shohei Ohtani to make bets at an illegal bookie, or it was, depending on what story you believe, or Shohei Ohtani took the $4.5 million to try and help cover this guy's gambling debts.
Which is a great dude if you're Shohei Ohtani, but I would stay away from that.
Yes, I would too. But Skraby's feeling is that the interpreter probably bet on the game, bet on the Dodgers. They were losing, so he went and in a sneaky manner tinkered with the glove of Jake Cronenworth, thereby causing the glove to break. That is Skraby's ridiculous conspiracy theory, but it's almost as good as any other possibility as to how you could just all of a sudden get a hole in your glove.
Well, my other theory is that drunk Rob Manfred got into the dugout.
Drunk Rob Manfred stumbled into the dugout.
I don't know that we can ever have Rob Manfred on the show because we have to bring up
Can you
moment.
play a little clip of Rob Manfred so the people that
I need to get a clip that we can just play over and over. That's what I need
play a
to
little
do.
something from that, because people don't understand why we always call him drunk Rob Manfred.
That's very true.
They may not remember what happened
Corey
after the Dodgers won the World Series that year in 2020.
Yes.
Rob Manfred was on the field presenting Corey Seager with his World Series MVP trophy.
All right, here it is.
And he stumbled and slurred his way through.
Corey, you thrilled our fans throughout the postseason with a great performance. You led the Dodgers to a World Series.
I will see here the entire break.
It was even better than I thought it was.
With the Willie Mays Most Valuable Player Award.
Corey Seager, I got to give him credit. He's staring at him like, are you drunk? Are you like, what is happening with you right now?
Yeah.
It was amazing.
And I've never been a one to stick up for Rob Manfred, but I will tell you it had to do with the fact that there was an echo in the building on the PA system, because remember, there was only a handful of fans in there for the game because it was during the COVID year.
If I'm Rob Manfred, don't you? Never mind. We've already talked about.
We've already talked it through.
Yes.
Here's the shocker. Are you ready? This is something you did not expect to ever hear. Me and John Calipari agree on something. Maybe the first time ever.
Wow.
John Calipari, the coach of Kentucky, was asked about the growing noise out there to expand the NCAA 68-team basketball format. Said Calipari, I want it to stay where it is.
Yeah.
I know people get mad. They get mad at the committee. He said, you won't believe this. I've been mad at the committee myself, but you may be mad at your seat or where they've shipped you to. We're always going to get upset no matter what. But Calipari wants them to keep it where it's at. Oakland coach Greg Kampe, also who's playing Calipari this weekend or this week, said this is the holy grail for mid-majors, the NCAA tournament. I've said it many times. Don't change it. Please don't change it. It's one of the greatest sporting events in the world. there are people that want to expand it. And the reason they want to expand it is not to help schools like Oakland or the smaller guys that provide the Cinderella aspect of the tournament. They want to expand the teams because they don't want just 5 teams from the ACC. They want 7 or 8. They don't want just 8 teams from the Big 12. They want all 12. They think that every power conference team basically ought to have a shot at getting into the tournament ahead of those other little schools. So the only way to do that is to keep the little schools involved, but just select more power. This is all a play by the power conferences to get more teams and therefore follow the dollar bill, Skraby.
Money.
Get more money. The more teams you have in the tournament, the more your conference makes. This is why people are pushing for this.
So over the
There's just no reason that I can see to do this, said North Carolina State coach Kevin Keats, who would like to see the tournament expanded. He said, when you look at football, they don't have this issue. You can make a bowl game at under 500. Yeah. And everybody hates that.
That's very rare too.
But we hate that.
We do.
We hate the fact that you can get into a bowl game at 6-6 even. You don't really have to earn your way to a bowl game. All you have to do is field a team. I don't think everybody should just field a team and get into the NCAA tournament.
I agree. We don't need more teams. I don't think we need more teams either. Why can't there's something about the tournament being the tournament instead of 80 teams or
it would be one
thing.
It would be one thing if you're going to expand the tournament by 10 teams and you're going to get some of the little conference schools who finish second and give them those.
They don't need to be in.
But they're not going to put them in. The only people they're going to put in with an expanded tournament is more power conference teams from each conference. That's all they're going to do. So don't get hoodwinked there. That's all they're trying to do is make more money for themselves. But John Calipari, even though his conference and his team would make more money, John's saying no. All right.
I mean,
for once, I agree with you, Coach.
Are we just really talking about it because Rick Pitino had a problem with everything this year?
Well, of course, Rick didn't make it this year, so he's got a big problem. Well, guess what? It's just like this is the same thing's going to happen in the college football playoff. You mark my words.
Well, they're up to 14 teams now.
Right. They stretched it from 4 to 12 and maybe now to 14. Whatever they put the college football playoff at, the next team that's left out is going to bitch. That's just never going to change.
That's true.
Right now, it's the 5th and 6th ranked team that says, oh, I should have been in the playoff, like Florida State last year, et cetera. Well, now it'll just be the 13th and 14th team that'll say, well, we should have been one of the 12. You can never add enough teams to eliminate the controversy.
It's true.
So stop adding teams.
The more teams you add, the more controversy can happen.
I agree.
Wow. That was
so me and
today.
Yeah, me and Calipari and you all agree at the same thing. Coming up on Gwynn and Chris, we will check into today's Big Five. It's coming up. Before we get there, I want to update you on the NCAA tournament game. Halftime, Montana State 42, Grambling State 33. More Gwynn and Chris ahead. Welcome back. 4:36 is the time. I believe it's 9:36 in the morning in Seoul, South Korea. The morning after the Padres dropped the season opener to the Los Angeles Dodgers there in Korea, 5-2 the final. We were going to do our Big Five right now, but
Found someone much
more important, much higher ranking official.
Yes, I hope you can hear us. Tony, can you hear us?
Tony Gwynn Jr., are you there?
I can hear you guys. I can hear you guys.
There he is. All right, let's check some traffic, and then we'll get some thoughts from Tony on the season opener.
Fan Traffic Center. Here's Kelly Danick.
Couple problems on the coastline. 2-car collision northbound at 5 just past Delmar Heights Road. Those vehicles are over to the right shoulder. Up ahead past Cannon. Stalled car partially in the slow lane. Going to find on southbound 5 an accident clearing stage just before Garnett. That's in the center divide. 3-car collision southbound 805 before Home Avenue. That is over to the right shoulder, but looks like fire crews are blocking the slow lane. Also traveling eastbound 8, crash clearing from the Los Coaches off-ramp. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3, The Fan.
All right, really happy that Tony is with us. Special treat to have him on with the proceedings today. Tony, how are you? How did the call go? How were the opening night festivities?
Good. It was as anticipated. A lot of important faces on the field before the game, and then obviously the game was going, I thought, pretty well until that 8th inning. But it was nice to finally play some baseball games that actually counted.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, well, just to welcome you to what we've been talking about all day today. They're calling it Glovegate, Tony.
Already, huh?
That's right. What in the world happened to Jake Cronenworth's glove? Now, I got to give Annie Heilbrunn credit for the title of that, but Skraby and I have run with it with all kinds of, Skraby, ridiculous conspiracy theories. I don't believe any of those conspiracy theories. However, something happened because I've been watching baseball a long time. I don't recall a ball going right through a glove. I've seen many of them get stuck in the webbing, but this is something that I was honestly shocked happened. And I also want to congratulate you because we played your and Jesse's call, and you noticed it right away. And I don't think anybody else even noticed it until they showed replays. Have you ever seen this happen before?
Yes.
You have? Okay.
It happens. It happens every year. Sorry, Scrape. I don't know what's going on with my camera right now. I think because my.
No worries. I'll just take you off camera. Don't worry.
I just think that I think my computer needs a charge. That's probably why the camera's not acting the proper way. You know what? This happens. It happens often, and I would venture to say it happens a couple times a year. A ball goes through a glove, the webbing. Guys that are attached to their glove. You see how fast Crone was able to get a new one and be out there. He probably had that glove, but when you break a glove in after so much time and work spent on it, you're not at first you're not expecting a ball to sizzle through the webbing like that. It's always a surprise, but it's just an unfortunate, really bad luck for the Padres on that particular play, because Jake got a tremendous jump on that ball and was going to turn 2. I have no doubt, and they would have got out that inning. Instead, that ball rolls. It's basically whips through that webbing, and that kind of opened the floodgates a little bit.
It's unbelievable that had happened. And here's the other thing I was bringing up, Tony, was that he takes infield with that glove before every inning, so that means that he was getting throws from short and third and second base right before the inning started. So it obviously was working like 5-10 minutes before this happened. And it wasn't like Gavin Lux, hit a seed down there. It was just a regular routine hopper. So, I mean, it seemed to defy everything that can happen with a glove, but there it was, torn right through.
Now, it's easy to focus in on the ball going through the glove, but that actually, wasn't what put him in that situation. You had the pitch clock walk that got that inning started.
Yeah.
You had a single before that. You had a walk before that actual at bat, and that plagued the Padres last night. 9 walks. It's hard to I think Jesse is having our PR team kind of look into it, see a 9-walk game and a team being able to end up victorious. That probably doesn't happen a lot, but yeah, obviously. The walks are going to happen, hits are going to happen, and you get a play like that where they can get you out of an inning. That all kind of could have changed it a little bit. But Padres, at least last night, they struggled with the walk portion of it.
Yeah, not only 9 walks that hit batters, so they gave the Dodgers 10 freebies last night, and the game opened with a pitch clock violation on Yu Darvish, which I honestly, because I had forgotten all about the pitch clock myself, and I wonder if you kind of forgot about it. But
we played the first 2 exhibition games without a clock, without any of the rules.
See, go.
The funny thing was, both of those games were like 2.5 hours. Like, it was almost like the clock wasn't needed, and then all of a sudden the clock goes up, and you got violations everywhere.
Did you and I did, but the way Mike Schilt managed this game, I mean, he used 8 pitchers. Maybe I'm short, 8 or 9, 8. But he said he's going to manage it like a playoff game because he only got the 2 games, before everybody can reset. I thought he did everything right. I mean, you can't manage against the walks, and you can't manage against, the ball bouncing through like that. But I thought the Padres did everything, that they could do here.
I thought he pushed all the right buttons, quite frankly. I think maybe the Darvish outing, the long inning kind of sped that up a little bit, where he had to go to the bullpen a little sooner than he wanted to. But he played the matchups the way I think, a lot of people were clamoring for last year. In all likelihood, Wandy Peralta could very well be the setup man, right? But in last night's game, he came in the 7th because the best lefties were all coming up in the 7th. So he came in that spot, and I think it was Betts, Ohtani, Freeman.
Yeah.
I thought he played it right. Now, as you said, you can't manage against walks. You can't manage against some of the bad luck that happened for the Padres last night. But I thought he played it perfectly.
Padres and Dodgers again. It'll be JoJo Musgrove, No Joe against Yamamoto. We'll see the debut of the Dodgers' new ace. We saw the debut of Jackson Merrill hit the ball on the screws. I know his first time up. I don't recall. We had
two of the three.
2 of the 3, yeah. I should fill you in on this, Tony. At our, you may not be aware, or unless you've been through Twitter.
I actually texted Tony.
Oh, did you tell him?
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable. Like upwards of 400 people showed up in the middle of the night down at the 7 Mile Casino. We could barely even shoehorn our way in there to watch this game. The Padre fans were incredible. And
did real quick, were you guys listening to the game on the radio?
We were not. That wasn't my choice.
Well, there was a big.
There was a little of a snafu there, Tony, and I don't know if
the story.
There's a little more to the story. They had the Don Orsillo.
So Skraby had me give a shout out for no reason in last night.
Skraby.
What? No, I was saying that people were telling me as they were driving in that they were enjoying Jesse and Tony on the radio.
Oh, okay. Jeez.
I was, well, I don't know. I'll leave that alone. I just think,
Yeah, we had
watch parties should have 97.3 playing up top. I'm just saying.
Sweet.
Yes.
That was very cool, but it just basically trickled out into the ether. Sorry. Yes. No, we had 2 different feeds coming into the 7 Mile Casino. One was the streaming and the other was the telecast. And so suffice to say that in different parts of the casino, the game was going on at different times.
Yes, and the speaker
so that was a little
working.
bit of a snafu. But, it was opening day for everybody. What can I say?
Right.
Overreactions, middle of the lineup went 0 for 14. I don't know what else you can say. Tyler Wade made an error. So what? I mean, it's part of baseball. everybody's not everybody, but a lot of people. Well, this proves we got to get Brandon Belt. We got to get Tommy Pham. Seems a little early for everybody to be overreacting, but I thought I'd mention it to you. Just, your thoughts on, what else you saw from the Padres on offense today, which wasn't a whole lot, unfortunately.
I thought they actually did well against Glasnow. I thought they didn't do anything against the bullpen for the Dodgers, which talking to those guys on that other side, they feel like that's a strong point of their team. But I thought, first of all, Tyler Glasnow was throwing pellets. It was 97, 99. He's throwing like a 92 mile per hour slider, an 85 mile per hour curveball. I mean, he was on his game, at least for an opening day start. And I thought, honestly, the Padres put together, they're better at bats against Glasnow, I thought, than they did against the bullpen. But, in those type of games, it could swing one way on an inning, on a play. And we saw that the Padres led through most of that game, 2-1. They had done some of the things that they were atrocious at last year, situational baseball. They did a good job last night. But when the bullpen came in, you got to give them some credit on the other side. They shut the Padres down for the most part.
You're bringing up a good point because we've talked about the glove gate, pretty much ad nauseum today, and talked about, the walks. But had they won the game 2-1, we would have been talking about Profar executing a bunt. We would have talked about Tyler Wade doing a nice job of tagging up and moving from second to third on a fly ball, putting himself in position to score. We would have talked about Bogarts coming up with a hit with runners in scoring position, something we didn't do last year. So you're right. There were a lot of things that were done well that ended up getting swept under the rug because they didn't win the game.
Yeah, no, that's going to be the thing that we're, at least early, that we're paying the closest attention, because they did a really good job in spring training, but we all know that doesn't mean anything. Once these games starts, that's when real execution has to happen. And offensively, in the moments that they had, they did a really good job. But a walk here, a bad luck play here, all of a sudden that inning they put up a 4 spot, and that's in that type of game, that could be the thing that ends up putting you in.
Yeah,
doing you in.
That was a ball game. What was your feeling on the Shohei Ohtani debut and all of the hullabaloo that went along with that today?
Well, the hullabaloo seems to be getting bigger today.
Yes, it is. Have you followed this story? Okay, so you're aware, yeah.
Yeah, it hit the phone pretty early here. So, it's crazy that we were all in the same building yesterday. And then this morning, my man gets caught for placing some illegal bets with Ohtani's money. So we'll as that story kind of unfolds. But in terms of Ohtani, man, it's a spectacle. The dude is massive. I think we so often, the thing I notice, we so often think about his pitching and his hitting prowess. This dude is fast. Like, he is a big dude that can float. Like, he hit 2 ground balls yesterday, and we didn't have a chance to turn a double play on either of them. That's how quick he's getting down the line. But I thought the Padres, this was a good opening act for the Padres, and they'll get a chance to kind of redeem themselves with Joe on the mound tonight.
All right, Padres will be the visiting team, by the way, on the scoreboard and in the game tonight. So they'll bat first, if you're wondering. Tony and Jesse will have the call. NCAA Tournament, Tony, I don't know that you'll get to take in a lot of it. The Aztecs don't play till Friday. You're probably going to be on an airplane, I'm guessing, at that point. I don't know where you're going to be. You probably don't know where you're going to be.
I'll be home by that point. I'll be probably, I'll be trying to get back on our clock that whole Friday, because we get home, I think Thursday night. I'm probably going to take Friday so I can try to get myself together for the long weekend we got the celebration of life for Peter on Saturday. And then we got the
The Fan
What do we
Fest.
got?
And by the way, Skraby
Fan Fest on Sunday.
Yeah, Skraby wanted me to ask you if he can play in the softball game.
Chris, I did not ask you to ask him that. I told you. I'm giving up on that dream.
He's really upset about it. Don't let him kid you, Tony.
Scrape.
Don't let him kid you, Tony. He's really upset.
I'm not upset.
Really upset.
There's some big heavy hitters coming, man. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get you in the lineup.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. That softball game will be part of the Fan Fest activities on Sunday. As we told you earlier, we will be doing our show from 4 to 6 on Sunday too. So hopefully everybody will be out there. But more importantly, listen to the game tonight. Watch the game. Tony and Jesse have the call. Hey, play this call again of the Cronenworth play.
All right.
Because listen to how smart you sound, Tony. I'm not kidding you. Because nobody knew this ball went through his glove.
Yeah.
Except you.
Bucks 0 for 3, flew out to deep left his last time. Swings at the first pitch, grounds into the right side. Cronenworth as it go off the glove into right field. Hernandez rounding third. On his way, he will score. And for the first time tonight, the Dodgers lead. It's 3-2.
That's just bad luck for Cronenworth. This ball actually goes through his glove. He's walking off the field right now to get a new glove.
Yeah, you were all over it, man. You were all over it. I'm impressed. I'm impressed because I saw the play. I didn't see it go through his glove.
I gotta be honest. I don't have like these like X-ray vision eyes or anything. I just, it's off experience. I know ball players' mannerisms, and
yeah, right.
Immediately he looked in his glove. And Jake's not the type to make an error, like a boot a ball, and like, you know how sometimes we make an error, we look at our glove, or we make a throwing error, we're like looking at our hand, like what are you doing, right? I know Jake's not that kind of guy. So as soon as I saw him looking at his glove, I was like, that ball must have went through. And then shortly after he did that, he started walking off the field, and I was like, he's getting a new glove.
Unbelievable.
And that's a terrible feel, especially when you know you're about to make a play that gets you out of the inning, that ends the inning and stops whatever bleeding is happening at that point.
Oh,
I'm sure that was pretty frustrating for him.
Oh, it was unbelievable. It was frustrating for everybody, for every Padre fan. I mean, so many fans today are saying, you know what, it's the first game and already this kind of stuff is happening to us. So, people are heading down the rabbit hole.
It is easy to go down that rabbit
hole.
I'm about to say it's probably after last year, it's probably pretty easy to fall into that immediately.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Now, do we have your? I want to get your Final Four picks. You're in the.
Yeah, got to turn on my mic.
Turn your mic
no
on.
idea the anxiety that Chris is
a lot of
feeling
stress.
about this.
A lot of stress. I want to get your bracket, but we can't access your bracket in the pool contest.
Why not?
I don't know.
Because you can't see
like the
people's
commissioner.
brackets.
Why can't you see it?
Because you can't see people's brackets until the games start.
Whatever. All right.
I think I have UNC. I think Marquette.
Wow. All right. I picked Marquette.
Gosh, I can't remember the other two.
UConn?
I got some upsets. Nope. I got Utah getting beat by us, of course.
Oh, that a boy,
go.
Tony.
Nice.
I love it. Last year, I had the guts to pick us over Alabama. I did not have the guts to pick us over UConn.
UConn left a bad taste in your mouth. Huh?
They did. Although it would be great if we get another chance at them. All right, Tony, it's always great getting caught up with you. It's been amazing that you've been able to join us the last 3 days from halfway around the world. So it's great. And, we're here. So anytime you want to pop in, I know
we're here.
Well, he knows that. I'm just saying.
Well, he's coming home tomorrow or tonight.
Well, yeah, I'm coming home tomorrow or tonight, and then we'll be back at it Monday.
All right, you got it. Well, we'll see you over the weekend, hopefully at the Fan Fest somehow, some way. And
we'll be at it on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll see you.
All right,
man.
Thanks,
well,
Tony.
Great call. Great job on the hole in the glove. I can't believe you spotted it, but that's what makes you you.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us from South Korea. Big Five pushed back a little bit, but coming up next.
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
Hey.
Ho, ho.
Happy hour. 5:01. Chris Ello. Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us from Korea there. That was great, always. Catching up with him when he's halfway across the world like that. And Matt Skraby is right here in the Odyssey Palace studios with me. Montana State, if you're keeping tabs on this NCAA tournament play-in game, the Bobcats lead Grambling State 53-39.
It's not good for me in my animal duel that chose.
Yes, you said the Tigers would win over the Bobcats.
Yeah.
Not happening right now. Montana State's on top with about 15 minutes to go. They lead by 14. Later tonight, Boise State will have another chance to put a feather in the cap of the Mountain West Conference when they take on Colorado, the Buffaloes. Buffaloes and Broncos. Can you take a Buffalo over a Bronco?
Yeah, a Buffalo is like 1,000 pounds. A Bronco
but
could
a Bronco
be like 500 pounds.
The Bronco's kicking and jumping around, causing havoc for the Buffalo, which doesn't have a lot of mobility.
Yeah, but I don't think the Buffalo really cares about getting kicked. I think it just like runs into him.
Just keeps moving forward.
Him or her. Yes.
Yeah. So you'll take the Buffalo in the battle there.
Yeah, I would think so. Who are you taking, Chris?
I like the Bronco.
You like the Bronco?
Stick and move.
Wow.
Stick and move. Kick and move.
All right.
Kick and move. Kick and move until you wear the Buffalo out.
This is a really random Skraby side note, but I got caught in a YouTube hole, and it ended up on watching people being bucked off their horses or kicked by their horses.
No.
That is some painful stuff.
Painful looking, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, we all run into those kinds of things from time to time. You click on one thing, then another pops up, you click on that, and now you're lost.
Yeah.
And you wind up watching videos that can't imagine you're watching.
I watched a guy get stung by a what was it? A scorpion.
Who has video of that?
Oh, oh gosh, what's his name? I wanted to bring it up a while back, but he has a ton of videos of him. He does this for science, Chris. He lets these animals, these insects, like bite him, sting him.
Got it.
For the videos. It's really, really fun to watch, I gotta say.
Glad you like seeing other people in pain. There's something they call people something like about who like that.
I think it's
something.
Am I allowed to say it?
No, let's leave it.
Okay.
Oh, you might be allowed to, but I just think we should leave it. Let's get into today's Big Five. We pushed it back a little bit because Tony was on with us from Korea. But the big sports stories of the day are coming at you right now.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Still trying to look for this guy's name. I think it might be Coyote Peterson. I think
Who's
so.
that? The guy who takes videos of animals injuring people?
Yes, because it is some of the... Yes, Coyote Peterson is his name. He gets stung, Chris. Look at this. Like, he'll put this little centipede on his hand, and it will sting him.
Nah,
This
no
dude
interest.
is insane.
No interest.
Yes.
No
Photo
interest.
guy just told me it was Coyote Peterson, too. Yes. You just look up Coyote Peterson.
I don't want to.
You need to.
I won't.
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Celebrate and save at Ashley's anniversary sale with hot buys. Your choice of color starting at just $399 or $399. Ashley Sleep mattresses starting at $250 plus. Receive a free adjustable base with select mattress purchases only at Ashley. All right.
Number 5.
And, everybody on the chat knows what's up with Coyote Peterson. So thank you for that, chat.
You guys all go watch that on your own time.
It's amazing, I got to say. I'm going to go watch them tonight. All right. First one here. I've already said number 5, but the Radies Children's Invitational. I believe the first ever one was this last year, right? In 2023, Chris?
It was.
Okay. So they have announced the teams that are going to be taking part in this upcoming 2024 Radies Children's Invitational, which starts on Thanksgiving. So we had a talk before the show, but here are the teams. Arkansas, BYU, Notre Dame, and Purdue were announced as the teams for this next invitational. Now, you may ask, Chris asked, why not San Diego State? But San Diego State has been playing in other tournaments during the Thanksgiving weekend, so maybe they'll play in a couple years. But, Chris, do you think this has big tournament vibes to you?
It's getting there. I mean, Purdue's big, but they're not going to be nearly as big next year, unfortunately, because Zach Edey won't be there. Obviously, if Purdue wins the national championship this year, that would increase the draw. But I think they've done a great job. I know Mark Neville and all the people at the Holiday Bowl. It's all part of the San Diego sports community there. The Holiday Bowl people have kind of started a separate thing to, put on other events, because the Holiday Bowl is one thing. So they're doing other things. And, it's a big deal. They're doing a good job. Purdue, nice draw. Notre Dame, that's a national brand. So
their basketball team, I'm not trying to.
Those are good
them,
games.
But,
no, it's a good tournament. It's a good tournament, but why shouldn't it be? Right? Teams in the Midwest and in the East are freezing themselves to death during Thanksgiving. The idea of being able to come out to San Diego, number one, fantastic weather. Number two, you don't have to go all the way to Maui. You don't have to go all the way to Honolulu, wherever those tournaments are.
That is far.
A little more convenient.
Way more convenient.
So you come to San Diego. I think this tournament not only was a great idea, but I think it has a chance to be really, really big. And, what they're getting next year, very good. Very good.
As a casual college basketball fan, I see these teams, I'm interested because they're big name teams, like you said. And even though Zach Edey's not going to be there, you hear Purdue, you think about Purdue now, you think about how much they're talked about. But I like this. I might even go.
I think they're calling it the San Diego Sports Council. My wife will correct me on that when I get home. But
San Diego, the people that are putting it on.
Well, it's the Holiday Bowl people, but it's an addendum to the Holiday Bowl. Now they're calling it. I think the San Diego Sports Council is now even overseeing the Holiday Bowl.
Gotcha.
And then overseeing the Radies tournament and other events that they're doing throughout the year.
All right. Well,
there you go.
Look forward to that on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Arkansas, BYU, Notre Dame, and Purdue.
Yeah, I'll run down and say hi to Eric Musselman.
I know. I actually thought about that. And I also thought about BYU and how much you would hate them being in the tournament.
Yeah, I will hate that.
You need to talk to those people and be like, why are you inviting BYU into the tournament?
Yeah, didn't you check with me first?
Yeah. We talked about Scott Boras yesterday and whether or not he lost a little bit of his superpowers this offseason with his big-name free agents. 3 of his star clients, Matt Chapman, excuse me.
Easy.
We're getting to the end of the show, and I still got another 2 hours, and I'm on 3 hours of sleep.
You're on fumes, baby. You're on fumes.
Go! Matt Chapman, Cody Bellinger, and now Blake Snell signed for less than expected. Chris and I got into a semi-argument yesterday. I went and did some research, and here are the projections prior to everything happening this offseason.
Hang on before you finish. What? I just got a text from Lori.
Okay.
Sports San Diego, it's called.
Sports San Diego.
That's what it's called. That oversees the Radies tournament, now oversees the Holiday Bowl. Sorry, I'm going to hear about that later. I should have known that. So I might have go ahead and change it as quickly as I could.
Let's just go.
Yeah, just move on.
Just move on.
Yeah.
So I went and did some research, and here are the projections prior to everything happening this offseason. Chapman and Bellinger were projected respectively $103 million and $112 million deals, while Snell reportedly turned down $150 million from the Yankees. So that's almost as much as $169 million in lost free agency cash. I'm up first. Does this prove anything to you? It proves that Scott Boras is losing his superpower because Scott Boras can snap his fingers, get a 4-year, $150 million deal, no problem. But that didn't happen this time. People are banding together, making sure that Scott Boras can't take all their money. I really think he had a failure of an offseason. Chris?
Wrong. We already discussed this yesterday. Scott Boras can still get pretty much whatever he wants. Some years it may be a little less than it is.
This is a lot
than previous year. Oh, it's not a lot less. He got less money, but he got less years. So somebody like Blake Snell can become a free agent again next year and make another $70 million. Scott Boras got what he wanted eventually. All right, don't feel sorry for this guy.
I
don't feel sorry for this guy.
I'm happy about it.
The team, in my mind, the teams, the Giants in this case, blinked first. Scott Boras ended up getting his clients huge deals. The number surrounding these huge deals is going to change every year, but it's still a huge deal. It's as much, if not more, than anybody else got.
Now, if Juan Soto doesn't get what he wants, do you think Scott Boras has lost his superpowers?
No,
yes.
I don't think.
You were about to say yes. I could see it in your face.
Let's just move on. I really don't care. Scott Boras makes so much money and controls the
It's
sport
not about
so much.
that.
It's not even funny.
It's about how he is now maybe not in the driver's seat, and it makes me feel good.
I think
for
he
some
is.
reason.
I think he's doing just fine.
Yes, personally he is.
Number 3.
Clients are not, though. Losing millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah. Poor
I would
Blake
fire
Snell.
him.
I feel for him.
I would fire him.
Yeah, well, let's see if anybody does.
They won't.
They won't.
Jordan Montgomery might. San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk chose an interesting way to get the 49ers' attention with what he posted on X. So yesterday or the day before, he tagged Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin in a message on X amid questions about his long-term future in the Bay Area. He said, quote, Coach Tomlin, they saying we twins. What you think? With eyeball emojis or emoji. So he's thinking. So 49er fans have lost their mind thinking that he wants to go to the Steelers.
Who wants to again?
Brandon Ayuk.
Okay.
This is the news of the offseason for the 49ers. Whether or not they trade him, whether or not they extend him, what happens with Brandon Ayuk. Chris, do you think Brandon Ayuk is worth the hassle?
Don't care. Has to do with the 49ers. I have no interest.
This is a big NFL story. I'm not just bringing it up for my own personal
Yes,
gain.
you are.
No, I am not.
Oh, yes, you are.
What do you think?
Do I think he's worth the hassle? What do you mean?
The hassle of him putting, like, he wants the 49ers either to pay him or trade him.
Okay.
What do you, if you're John Lynch, are you calling his bluff?
I would pay him if I could because I think he's that good.
Okay. That's what I'm looking for.
There's your answer.
Yes, and that's what I think as
well.
But
if I don't, if he wants too much, then yeah. At some point, I'd like to be the team that tells these guys, you know what, if you don't like it, I'm just going to trade you. But you can't really do that and be successful anymore.
No.
You have to hang on to somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to keep just proving a point by trading all of the guys that want more money, you're not going to have much of a team left.
That's true.
So, I have to consider what he wants and see if I can't make it happen because I think he's a key part of that squad.
I agree.
Especially since Deebo Samuel is injured every other 5 minutes.
Thank you for saying that.
You're welcome.
I agree 100%. I think Brandon Ayuk, if they lose him, that's going to hurt the team a lot. A lot.
Wait till Brock Purdy becomes the next
Number 2.
Justin Fields or something like that. Not going to be happy.
Hate you. So we were just talking about this Shohei Ohtani
Leave him alone.
stuff.
He got married this offseason.
He did.
Be nice to him.
He's in Turks and Caicos right now on his honeymoon.
He's having a ball.
All right. So
is
Shohei
he seriously
Ohtani,
there? Do you know this?
I think so. I saw an article earlier. I
a
don't know
little
if it's
scary
Turks and
that you know
Caicos,
all
but
this
it's one of
stuff.
those tropical locations.
All right.
So Shohei Ohtani, we talked about it. His translator has been fired for apparently stealing $4.5 million from him and paying bookies with it. But this is the kind of conversation going on X, and Dallas Braden is very into this, and he's been tweeting like crazy. But I'm up first. Do you think Shohei Ohtani should have to step aside until they figure this out?
Step aside.
Like,
well, I think he should be fortunate if he's allowed to step aside.
No, I mean,
because hopefully he's not the center of their focus in this thing.
No, I know, but I'm saying
because there was the one report you read said that the whole notion was that Ohtani might have given the guy the money himself to cover his gambling
from his
debts.
accounts.
Yeah, but if Ohtani was the one who actually made the transaction, that's certainly being involved with some dirty money.
It is,
right?
It is. I think
probably not the best look for Ohtani, even though his mind might have been in the right place, like it was trying to help.
Yeah,
but you're giving somebody.
You got to be smart in that, though. If you're Shohei Ohtani,
you got to be careful.
I think that Shohei Ohtani seems like a great guy, and he seems like he's squeaky clean. I mean, there's nothing that's ever followed him that I know of. But I would possibly, if this has any impact on betting, you're gonna have to have him sit out for a little bit until they figure it out. It's not going to happen, but if there is anything to this would happen to any player. They would make these players sit out.
Get over it.
I kind of agree.
Get over it. Not happening. Not happening. It's not. No.
Sarah says
they'll protect him from all of it.
Sarah says, I do. Lock him up. Add Glovegate to him, too.
Yeah. Make him. Well, that's what we said earlier. If you can't beat him, jail him.
Oh, my gosh, Chris. Spy Kids on YouTube. This has nothing to do with anything, but they say conspiracies, more like conscrabacies. Ha ha!
New word in the English language.
So you don't think this is going to happen?
It's not. Nothing's going to happen. Sorry.
I know. Adam on the chat says, "Oh, stop! Just stop with the sit out comments." How do you know that he's not involved, Adam? You do not.
Not going to be sitting out anytime soon.
He was involved one way or another, as Dan said, because it came from his account.
Number 1.
I think this is really cool. But Gold Zone is going to be a live whip around show that features the most exciting Olympic moments across sports as they're happening this summer when the Olympics return to Paris, and it's all going to air on Peacock. Now, here's what I really love, Chris. Our guy, Scott Hansen, 7 hours of commercial-free football starts now, is going to be saying the Olympics starts now because he's going to be a host. Andrew Siciliano is going to be a host. Matt Eisman is going to be a host. And former guest of the show and San Diego State for lifer, Akbar Gabaja Biamila will be host of the show. Again, we'll stream live daily on Peacock from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern starting on July 27th. Which is the first day of medal competition through August 10th. NBC Sports said, with up to 40 events happening simultaneously during the Paris Olympic Games, Gold Zone will present viewers with the best and most compelling moments happening at any time. So I didn't know this. A Gold Zone show actually debuted on NBC's Olympic broadcast coverage in 2012. But you're up first, Chris. Do you like this?
I like it if I'm home all day watching the Olympics live.
True.
It's better than what they have now, which is a lot of replays and old video, and I've heard the results.
Yeah.
And now I watch somebody win the 100 meters, and I already know what happened.
Hearing the result.
Yeah, you hear the results because the whole thing is overseas. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good idea. I don't know if it's going to quite beat NFL Red Zone when Scott Hansen says, let's go to the Greco-Roman wrestling arena for an update.
But you know that he's going to make you excited about that Greco-Roman update.
He'll try. I don't know that he'll be able to. But, yeah, I will say that, I like this idea. When we want our sports as it's happening now, right?
We do.
We're used to it. That's what we get.
We do.
And Scott Hansen gives it to us as well, if not better than anyone.
Yeah.
So he's the man.
I love this idea.
I love Scott Hansen.
That's it for the Big Five.
Is he coming on the show again before next season? He better. He's got to make it a yearly
No, he
thing.
always does. He
always
done
makes
it for the
time
past
for us.
4 years.
It's so good that he does that because, again, we don't have a team in San Diego. But he
I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But he
no,
knows
you're right. We don't.
that we have a lot of football fans here.
He also, you know what he does too?
Scott Hansen's the man.
I know he's a good guy because whenever we call him, he says, I'm speaking with Chris and Tony, right? And I'm like, you know exactly what's up. That's a good guest right there.
He is a good dude. Scott Hansen, thumbs up all the way around. All right. What are you turning off my mic for?
I accidentally pressed both of them.
Feels like a ball just went through my glove. We'll take a quick time out here. When we come back, more Gwynn and Chris. And if you have your brackets handy, we have great knowledge for you coming up at the bottom of the hour. Sean Paul from the Field of 68 with some interesting tidbits about the NCAA tournament. Stick around. Crisello looking good, feeling good, 37 pounds lighter, thanks to my friends at SD Fat Loss. You can lose weight too, but you got to get the program. You got to get with the program and get the program. Here's the number to call, 858-665-3211. That's 858-665-3211. You can check them out online at sdfatloss.com. Does the program work, Chris? Yeah, 37 pounds. That's how much I lost. Lost it doing the program. You will do the same as long as you follow the program. Eat what they say you can eat. Don't eat what they tell you not to eat. It's your own food. You don't have to do prepackaged meals. You don't have to count points or calories. You don't even have to exercise. You just got to know the secret to losing up to a pound of fat every single day naturally, safely, and effectively. 858-665-3211 or online sdfatloss.com. We're getting into the March Madness of the NCAA Tournament, so our focus will go away from the NBA for a couple of weeks. But
woohoo!
Yeah, I'm watching a little of this Celtics Bucks game tonight.
Oh man, I didn't see the score.
Jason Tatum's ridiculous. He is in his last 9 games. They just flashed this on the screen. Last 9 games, Skrabe, he's shooting 49% from 3.
Oh my goodness!
It's a 3-pointer. It's like a 28-foot shot, and he's making it half the time.
I can't believe that Al Horford is still playing
and still making 3-point shots as well. Celtics lead the Bucks big, 56-38. Second quarter, Giannis not playing for Milwaukee. The Celtics are 10 games up on the Bucks in the East. That's how far clear they are of
so when do people
getting the number 1 seed.
So when do people start blaming the Bucks team for their bad season instead of the coaches?
Instead of Doc Rivers?
And not even, what was the guy's name? I can't remember his name.
Oh, the first guy got fired when they were in first place.
Yes.
Ever since he got fired, they've fallen much worse.
When are they going to start pointing fingers on the guys who actually play?
Well, they're still 20 games over 500. They're just not keeping up with the Celtics, who are 40 games over 500. Celtics are 40 games over 500.
That's incredible.
Pretty good.
That is really good.
Pretty good. Meanwhile, last time we checked on this NCAA tournament game, the first 4 in Dayton, Montana State was leading Grambling State by 14 in the second half. That has changed. Grambling with a pair of 11-0 runs in the second half, and the Tigers now are ahead of the Bobcats. So your theory is holding out.
Here we go.
Grambling State 65, Montana State 63. 3 minutes to go in that one. All right, NCAA tournament. Oh, goodness.
There's my Tiger.
Yeah. Get your brackets out. Sean Paul, Field of 68 website. So smart. I'm not just saying this. The guy has the Stetson backcourt memorized.
He does.
Along with every other bit of information you'd ever need about the tournament. So
do you think he would beat you in a Chris vs. the Fans college tournament edition?
College
basketball edition? For like this year college basketball.
Like trivia?
Yeah.
Of course he would beat me.
Oh, okay.
I don't know the Stetson backcourt.
True.
How the hell am I going to get that?
Other than Sean Paul.
I mean, he knows every single player on the Aztecs, every single player on UAB. This guy's
he's locked in.
He's money.
Yeah.
So prepare to be smarter. That interview's coming up after a short break. All right, welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. Final segment of our Wednesday get-together. Skraby Chronicles are coming up at 6 o'clock. More on Glovegate.
Oh, we're going to get into Glovegate.
I imagine you're going to get even further into Glovegate than you and I got into Glovegate.
But we're going to get even further into Ohtani-gate.
Yeah, Ohtani-gate. Running concurrently with Glovegate.
This is one of the greatest conspiracy theories.
What are they
the
calling
year.
it? A conscrabacy.
Conscrabacy.
A conscrabacy.
Yes. I whoever said that earlier.
Yeah,
thank
very
you.
good.
I
Yeah,
love
you're
it.
going to use that for sure. Dodgers over the Padres 5-2 today after a simple ground ball by Gavin Lux with 2 runners aboard. Went from being a double play to an RBI error as the ball went through the glove of Cronenworth into right field. And I mean through the glove. Never seen it before. Tony says it happens a couple of times a year. I must not get to see it because I had never seen it before. Anyway, Padres walked 9, hit a batter. That did not help their cause today. Offensively, only 4 singles for the Padres. And, they got an RBI single from Xander. And then really the big moment was Campusano there. Bases loaded, bottom of the 4th, nobody out, hits into a double play. A run scored, but did not get the big inning that you needed. So the Dodgers get the first one. They'll play again tomorrow morning. We'll have it for you on 97.3 The Fan. Sammy Lev's Eco Water pregame show gets underway at 2:05 a.m.
It was really nice, actually, driving down, listening to the sultry tones of Sammy Lev at 2:15 in the morning.
Sammy couldn't get it done. He was on his game today.
He was.
Thanks again one last time to the 350 plus who showed up down at 7 Mile Casino today to watch the opener with all of us. So crowded that we honestly, I don't think we turned people away. People just turned themselves away because there was nowhere really to go.
I did.
We had such an amazing turnout. We, we could handle who was there, but it was a little crowded.
I
be honest.
When I finally found a parking spot and tried to start making my way over there, I saw a bunch of people walking the other way, and I was like, "What happened? Like, did the game get canceled or something like that?" They're like, "No, we just can't find a place to watch the game."
Yeah, it was really a great turnout. So thanks to all you people who are out there. All right. Also tomorrow, starting at about 9 in the morning, the NCAA basketball tournament rolls all day long. The Aztecs don't play until Friday, but you have 16 games tomorrow. They'll be gone all day long. It's like Christmas to me, anyway. To watch NCAA tournament action.
Gobble, gobble.
Or that.
I don't know why.
It's not Christmas.
I just wanted to play that.
That's not Christmas. But in that vein, we had an interview with Sean Paul earlier, Field of 68 website. If you don't think I'm right when you hear this interview, then you don't. But I think you will agree with me that he knows a lot about college basketball, and he's giving us some great insight ahead of the start of March Madness.
From the 90s.
A stalled car partially blocking the Poinsettia off-ramp southbound 5. They may have to do a little traffic control to get that moved. And northbound side of the 15, right around Center City Parkway, there is a collision involving a couple vehicles. That's over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Downick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
NCAA basketball guru from the Field of 68. Joining us on Gwynn and Chris is our friend Sean Paul. Sean, how are you today?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me. And that game last night was not a sight to behold. I'll tell you that much.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But it was, to me, it was a little bit for Mountain West Conference fans. I mean, after all,
sure.
Other than the Aztecs, the Mountain West had been 0-11 in the previous, 4 or 5 years. So for the Mountain West to get a nice win over that's a third place team from the ACC. I don't know what that says about the rest of the ACC, but I guess we'll find out going forward. All right, let's start, Sean. I asked you about, Boise State and Colorado tonight and take a little look at some of the other matchups, but let's start with the Aztecs and their draw, UAB in the first round. This is not metrically one of the best teams in the tournament. As a matter of fact, I think their net is actually lower than all of the 13 seeds, let alone being the lowest among the 12 seeds. So did the Aztecs truly get a beneficial draw here, or is that window dressing?
Honestly, for the way that San Diego State plays, I think this matchup was one of the worst 12 seeds they could have gotten.
Really?
Because
Okay.
San Diego State or UAB has a ton of size. They play, honestly, more of an old school style with the way this year's roster is built. They have Yaxel Lendenborg, who is a big man, double-double machine. He's been one of the better bigs in the country over the last couple months. And you have Javian Davis, who used to play at the high major level at Mississippi State and Alabama. Those two play together a lot. 6'9", 265 for Davis, 6'9", 230 for Lendenborg. They just have so much size up front. And if you're trying to stop Jaden Ledee, you have to have some size up front to stop that man. He was an All-American for a reason. But what it comes down to for UAB is they're going to have to be able to hit a couple perimeter shots. They're a really bad shooting team, 33% from deep. Eric Gaines, Alejandro Vasquez, Butta Johnson, all three of those guys Butta Johnson's a shooter of the bunch, but Eric Gaines and Vasquez are more defenders and more on-ball defenders that can cause havoc. And they're both athletic. They're both strong. They can be really good for this team, but they're just not shooters. So it's going to be a pretty low-scoring game in my mind. UAB's defense is pretty poor, but they will be able to flash a lot of different looks at you. And I think their defense is a little bit better than the numbers would indicate just based on the raw talent they have. But San Diego State, I mean, I talked about it last time. Those guards have to score. Because if you're putting everything on Jaden Ledee's plate, at some point he's not going to have a good game. You're going to need Lamont Butler to score. You're going to need Darion Trammell to score. You're going to need Micah Parrish to score. You need somebody to score the basketball outside of Jaden Ledee, and we'll see who that is, but they need somebody to do it.
Talking to Sean Paul of the Field of 68 here on 97.3 The Fan. And real quick, did you say his name was Butta Johnson?
Yeah, Butta. His real name is Ephraim, but he goes by Butta.
Okay, that's a pretty cool nickname, I gotta say. If you're named Butta as a basketball player,
I bet he's smooth.
I bet he is. But we had a writer on yesterday, and he was talking about the team and how they, as you said, might not be the best team in the tournament, but they can still do some damage. Do the Aztecs have the upper hand in regards to the bench? Because throughout the year, the bench has been a big thing for the team, and I feel like the bench could be the aspect that helps them win the game.
I mean, definitely. When you look at UAB, they want to play a lot of size. They really only go about 8 or 9 guys deep at most. Christian Coleman and Javian Davis kind of swap around at that 4 spot a little bit. You get some more athleticism and versatility with Coleman. I think that could actually work decently well in this game, depending on how the foul situation sets up, because Jaden Ledee draws fouls better than anybody not named Zach Edey in the country. So I think Coleman could see a steady diet in this game, especially with Jay Powell. They're very similar in the way they're built. But they bring Daniel Ortiz and Tony. Another great name with Tony coming off the bench.
Tony.
Yeah,
like
great names here.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's funny.
Those are 2 guys that can shoot it. So I'd like to see a little bit more of them than we typically do, to be honest with you. But yeah, this isn't the most talented team in the field. They're probably one of the least talented 12 seeds in the field. But just the way this team is built, it scares me a little bit for the way San Diego State plays, because you want to face a team that doesn't have a litany of big men, and they have just that.
Yeah. Well, almost anything scares me if I'm San Diego State right now, because the Aztecs don't shoot the ball well, and they don't rebound great on the defensive glass, and that is where UAB makes its hay. So I definitely
one of the best in the country.
Yeah, no question. The Aztecs are going to have their work cut out for them, but just for fun, let's look ahead at their draw. I mean, they made an amazing, run last year. Nobody saw that coming. We can dream a little, can't we? Let's say they beat UAB. Is Auburn too good in the second round? I've seen that. Now, their metrics are off the charts. They are way up there in defensive efficiency, offensive efficiency. I've seen nothing but, great reviews on Auburn. And then if they are able to get past that, they're going to have UConn. I know the Aztecs beat the number 1 seed last year, Alabama, but UConn seems like a whole nother animal.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. UConn is the best team in the country by a lot, in my opinion. They just have so many different options on the offensive end. All 5 starters average double digits. They can defend. They can just go on a 10-0 run faster than anybody in the country, and in a blink of an eye just change the entire game. They did it twice during the Big East tournament. this is the best team in the country. They've only lost a couple times all year, and they've just looked impressive all year long. But Auburn, you mentioned as well in the potential second-round matchup. Again, they have a big-time stud big in Janai Broome. They have Jalen Williams, who's another awesome piece. Good, but that's going to be tested in the potential first 2-round matchups. But I wouldn't sleep on Yale in that first-round matchup against Auburn either. Yale is a pretty good team. They have a lot of size for an Ivy League team with 7-footer Danny Wolf and Matt Noling, who made the game winner against Brown in the Ivy League title game. They have a really good point guard in Bez Mbang, who I think is better than any point guard Auburn has on their roster, which is my big concern about them. They're very similar to San Diego State in the fact that they have a really good front court, but the guard play is really shaky, and that's why I don't think either team will make a super deep run in the tournament, although the metrics absolutely love Auburn. So you can draw some parallels to UConn being super beloved by the metrics last year and being a 4 seed. Same deal for Auburn. I just don't think Auburn is nearly as good as that UConn team last year. But I could see San Diego State getting past Auburn if they beat UAB. I could see it. I don't know if I would predict it, but I could see it. There's a world where that could happen. I don't think San Diego State's going to make the Sweet 16 this year, though.
That's fair. That is fair, Sean.
I think it's fair. Just, if you don't mind being wrong, it's
fair.
Hey, I'd love to be wrong. I love this program and what Dutcher has. Just the guards, they just don't do it enough. It's
they
tough
haven't.
because last year you had Bradley who at least set the tone, and I know we didn't have a huge season last year compared to the previous year, but against Charleston and FAU, their 2 closest games of the tournament before the title game, who was there saving the day for San Diego State? Matt Bradley.
Yep, that's true. We're talking to Sean Paul, Field of 68 here, and I got a side question before my actual question. Do you just memorize everything about basketball?
It's pretty unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
He's ripping off these names. It's left and right.
Like, there's no way you're sitting in front of your computer doing this. This is coming off the top of your head.
I'm not sitting in front of my computer now.
I know. How do you do this?
I love this. I love this
stuff.
stuff.
I watch a lot of basketball. I study a lot of basketball. I don't know. See, if I was as good at memorizing math equations as I am at memorizing college basketball players, I would have been a lot better in school. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
You and me both, Sean.
Great at memorizing basketball.
You and me both.
So we were just talking about upsets and different teams that could do some things in the tournament. And here's the $1 million question that everybody wants to know. Who's the upset that they should be picking in their bracket?
It's a great question. I think right now Stanford is a trendy one over Kansas with Kevin McCullough being out, but I don't love the way that Stanford's built against high major teams. They don't have a ton of size to really battle against Hunter Dickinson. They have 2 good big men at the Chora and Jermaine Marshall. Those are 2 really good Southern Conference big men, but both are really wings playing into 4 and 5. I don't think they'll fare very well against Kansas because the way Kansas doesn't turn the ball over, Stanford pressures a ton. They have a small backcourt and they shoot a ton of threes. I just don't think that's going to work against Kansas. But Grand Canyon over St. Mary's is the one I've really dug my heels into at this point. I think they're a really good team. They're more athletic than St. Mary's, and obviously St. Mary's is really good. They have 2 great guards with Augustus Marshallonis, Aiden Mahaney. They're a great defensive team, but their offense can leave a little bit to be desired at times. They ran through the WCC this season. But when you look at Grand Canyon, I mean, they have a really, really good team. Did they beat San Diego State this year? Or they played, right?
Yeah, they beat the Aztecs rather handily down there. Yeah, they were good.
Yeah, I thought that was coming to my mind correctly. Ty and Grant Foster, one of the best players in this tournament. He's just an absolute stud. He's an NBA player. Grand Canyon's a really good offensive rebounding team. They have a lot of offensive weapons like Ray Harrison, Javon Blackshear. They just have so many dudes that can beat you. They're more athletic than St. Mary's. I think it'll be a Grand Canyon victory.
Well, there's something to go along with that pick of Grand Canyon is that on my bracket, I have St. Mary's going quite a ways, and I'm not very good in brackets. So
nor am I.
So, that's just something for you people out there to keep in mind. Maybe Grand Canyon is one of those really good choices. A couple things. We had the 15s beat the 2s last year. We've got Purdue in this tournament. They've lost, to double-digit seeds, it seems like every year. Are we going to get one of those crazy tournaments again this year, Sean, or is it going to at least get a little bit back to semi-normal?
I mean, I don't think so, but at the same time, like, if I could just be like, hey, St. Peter's is going to win it again, guys, but I'd just be lying to you because I don't think it's going to happen. I didn't think Princeton was going to win a game last year either. I didn't think St. Peter's was going to beat Kentucky. I thought St. Peter's would cover the 21.5 point spread or whatever it was against Kentucky. I didn't think they'd win. But Oral Roberts over Ohio State, I did actually predict that one, and that got me a lot of Twitter followers a good 3 years ago. But it's just, you're really just guessing if you have a 15 or a 16 seed over a 1 or a 2 seed, because the odds of it happening are just so slim. Obviously, it can happen, and you look at some of these 16 seeds, there's some talent there last night. I mean, it was a really good game by Wagner, but they play 7 guys. Like, that's not a formula to win against a 1 seed. Then you have Montana State and Grambling State. They play tonight. I don't think either of those 2 teams are going to win a game as a 16. Stetson, I think, is the most talented 16 seed out there, and they play UConn. Like, that's just a terrible matchup. But Jalen Blackman, if you're looking for a guard who can really go, he scored 43 points in the ASUN title game. He is one of the best guard scorers in the country. Stephon Swenson right next to him. That's a really good guard duo, but they're playing UConn. They're not going to win that game. So you can still find things to enjoy about these games, but odds are they're probably not going to win.
We're talking to Sean Paul, Field of 68 here, and my last question is very simple. Where can people go to find your thoughts, find your articles, and what's your Twitter handle?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Sean Paul CBB to see all of the NCAA tournament thoughts I have, and tweeting about random transfers, because everybody is entering the transfer portal nowadays. So maybe San Diego State will get a couple of them.
We probably will. I want to ask you one more thing before I let you go. I mean, I told everybody before you came on, I said, this guy's really knowledgeable. So get your brackets out. And you have done nothing to change my mind, Sean. I mean, I can't believe the in-depth knowledge you have. The one thing that people are saying this year is that UConn, Houston, and Purdue, those 3 are just better than everybody. Do you have all 3 of them being able to get to the Final Four, or are they likely to run into some problems somewhere? I know you don't think UConn will. What about the other 2?
That's a great question. Well, I'll just say my pick here. I have UConn winning the whole thing. I know that's a very chalk pick these days, but that's just the best team I've seen this year. I've watched a lot of UConn because they're just that fun to watch. They're the best team I've seen. I'm perfectly okay being wrong if they're not going to win it all. But the other 2, I have Houston going down in the round of 32. I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but I could air my thoughts on them real fast. Their defense is elite, like always. Kelvin Sampson's a great coach, but I've said for months what's going to happen to Houston when LJ Cryer and Jamal Shedd have an off-scoring night. And we saw exactly what happens in that situation against Iowa State. They were completely outmatched by a really good Iowa State team as a 2 seed. Probably should have been a 1 seed in my opinion, but they got completely outmatched because they don't have enough scoring outside of those 2. They need those 2 to combine for 40 points in a game if they're going to win that game against a high-level team. I have Texas A&M taking them down in the round of 32. For me, it just comes down to the lack of scoring options, and they are just so depleted right now, which isn't the style that Kelvin Sampson wants his team to have. He likes having a ton of depth, but Jawan Roberts is shaking up right now. He should play, I assume. He played in the conference title game, but I don't think he's 100%. You're down 3 rotation players. Houston's just not as good as the other 2 teams, in my opinion. I think it's UConn and Purdue, and then a decently sized gap between Houston and the other 2. Okay. I don't think Houston's going to make a deep run. I just don't see it this year. Purdue, I have making it to, I think, the Elite 8 and losing. Obviously, they can win it all too, but I think UConn is the best of that bunch by a pretty clear margin.
Well, Sean, I'm a lot smarter about the tournament than I was 20 minutes ago. Thanks for great insight. Let's catch up to you again. And we'll preview the Aztecs Sweet 16 matchup against UConn, the one that you don't think is going to happen.
Title rematch? All right, I'm down for that. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Why not? Hey, we owe them from last year. We appreciate it, Sean. Thanks. Great stuff as always. Again, give us the Twitter thing, and it's the Field of 68, the website that people can follow, because the rest of the guys are just as smart as you are. So tell us again.
Twitter at Sean Paul CBB, and the Field of 68. I believe it's just at the Field of 68. Nightly show every night with a bunch of really smart college basketball minds, and they'll be going live again tonight. So make sure you pay attention to that. The Field of 68 daily, a written version of everything you need to know about college basketball. Subscribe to that newsletter. You can find all that information on the Field of 68's Twitter, and I believe it's on mine as well.
Awesome. Wow. Great stuff, Sean. We really enjoyed it. Thanks again. We'll still talk to you again. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, have a good one, guys.
There you go, Sean Paul from the Field of 68. And there you go. A little help for your brackets. And you now have the knowledge of the starting backcourt at Stetson.
That's right. Stetson.
I guarantee you could interview a reporter from Stetson. They wouldn't know who the starting backcourt is. Sean Paul knew.
He did.
he was on top of the situation. 1 minute to go in overtime. Good game. Obviously, they're in overtime. NCAA first four. Grambling State 80, Montana State 78. Grambling State by 2. They have the ball with a minute left in overtime. The winner will get a chance to beat Purdue on Friday. The next game will be Boise State and Colorado. Skraby will keep you up to date on all of that.
Yes, I
He's
will.
coming up next with the Skraby Chronicles. It's Gwynn and Chris. Hope you enjoyed today. Don't forget Padre baseball at 3 o'clock in the morning.